special episode this week. I think it's kind of special. I got to talk to kind of my doppelgangers. Dustin and Melissa Nickerson are my guests. Dustin is a stand-up. He was on Fully Loaded with Bert last year. He tours with Taylor Tomlinson. He tours, obviously, of his own right as well. He has a book called How to Be Married to Melissa. He has a stand-up special on YouTube called Runs in the Family. And he's just lovely and nice and wonderful. And his wife is lovely and nice and wonderful. And someone said to me, you should have them on your podcast because I think you guys and the two of them are very similar with me and Bert and the two of them. And I think they were right. So great conversation. We talked about being married to a comic. We talked about reentry, having kids, the normalcy of LA or being a comic in a neighborhood with an elementary school where no one knows who you are. Not really LA because they don't live in LA, but I don't know. It was a really great conversation. It was a long one, so it had to be good. I enjoyed getting to know them. I enjoyed listening to their experience in a similar life to mine. It was really great. So I hope you enjoy it too. Check out Dustin's special again on YouTube. It's called Runs in the Family. He's just a lovely person, and Melissa is as well. So thank you for coming back and joining me in this conversation. BirdieBoyProductions.com. If you want to send me an email, just go to the Wife of the Party tab, and there's an option there to send me an email. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Without further ado, is that how you say that? Anyway, here are Dustin and Melissa Nickerson.
I was trying to remember, Isla or Georgia, which is older?
Georgia's older.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought that's because I listened to your episode with Isla, and I was like, it's the youngest, but it could be Georgia. I want to get it right.
Yeah. Georgia's the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have three, and they are, I'm going to screw it up, 15, 13, and 9.
Yeah, you nailed that. That's great. That's better than I do.
15 birthdays, and then, you're off.
Totally.
Again.
And wait, oldest is a girl or a boy?
It goes boy, girl, girl.
Boy, girl, girl.
Joel, Gloria, and Claire.
Yeah.
Oh, great names.
Yeah. Fun fact, your daughter's names are the names of our grandmas.
No way.
I have a grandma Isla.
I have a grandma Georgia.
And we
actually considered Georgia for Gloria, Yeah. And I won't say, but someone was like, nah.
It's why you don't tell people the names, because we were really fixated on Georgia. We really like that. And then somebody said something bad. It was her brother.
No, it wasn't. We're keeping this anonymous.
It was 100% your brother. There's
it wasn't.
He doesn't listen to our podcast. You think he's going to listen to this one?
It wasn't him.
It was definitely him. But we like Gloria. We were very happy with that as a name as well.
The names you chose, and we like the names that you chose.
Well, thank you. Do you nickname your kids?
Did I what?
Do you nickname them? Like, do you call them Joel, Gloria?
Yeah, they have a variety of nicknames.
Yeah.
In the quickest format, you do their first letter, J, C, J, G, C. I guess we don't see a lot. Claire is Claire Bear. That's an easy one.
I call Gloria, them the strangest things.
Gloria, she's been G-Funk for a long time.
G-Funk.
I call them all Chobs.
Yeah.
Is that their collective
name? They are
Or
together.
each Chobs?
Yes.
Whoever I see, I'm like, hey, Chobs, could you grab this for me?
Where did that word come from? That's an amazing and delicious word to say, Chobs.
Chob is very satisfying. Yeah. And then there's Chip Chob every once in a while. Yeah,
but you could also say kids. So why'd you choose
Chob.
Chobs? I love that.
Chob sounds like a
term of endearment, right?
Yeah, totally.
Chob sounds like something you would buy on the street to soak up a drunk.
It sounds like
so you can
mash
drive.
for making moonshine or something. Hey, that's all the Chob over there. Corn cob, Chob.
I know.
Yeah, it is a little bit like a pet name in that it's derived into a bunch of other things. Chob. Chobbing is a verb in our house. You can, if you're chobbing,
can be plural.
You got to stop chobbing.
What does that mean?
Doesn't mean anything. It just means just to exist. Just
So you're saying stop existing? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Use it in a sentence for me.
I don't want to see any chobbing out of any of you today. It's playful. It doesn't mean anything.
Maybe it's just childlike.
If we're actually upset, the word chob will never be said.
Right.
Chob is kind of a peace offering. Like, hey, everyone's in a good mood right now.
I guess that's how it works when you didn't even realize you came up with it.
Yeah, right.
You know,
it just kind of starts and it sticks.
Do you guys have any ridiculous ones like that?
Yeah. Are you kidding? Did you watch Bert's last special? They call him every name.
Every name. Yeah,
they call him fetus.
I know the fetus one I like, but I meant from you to them.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Georgia, we always call George. But she's also G-Mac, G-Money, G-Macaroon Tune.
Oh, that's good.
Munch.
That's kind of
Munchy.
Same vein.
Yeah. Well, that's a real word. Chob we just invented. But.
Yeah.
Chob you invented. I love that. And then Isla's like Isla Grace with a pretty face.
It's cute.
Did you have ones from your parents growing up?
No. My dad called me kid or kiddo.
Yeah.
But no, nothing like that.
That's so the.
But my uncle did.
Oh.
My uncle used to call me Leanna Manana.
Oh, that's nice.
Leanimus.
Yeah.
Hey, Leanimus. He would
that's
come
fun.
up with a few other things. So maybe it came from my uncle. Yeah.
That's that is kid is so unpersonal. It's like
kid.
object, chair, kid, cat.
Exactly. Yeah, kid's a little impersonal, but how fun is having kids? Do you love it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't it
It's a
fun?
blast.
It is, yeah. I was listening to your episode with Angela, and it is
Johnson?
with Angela Johnson. Yeah. And I like what you said that you're like, it is fulfilling beyond anything you could ever imagine. But it is also, it's not for everybody. It's not like you have to have, you can be fulfilled in other things, but
absolutely.
I can't imagine our lives without them, you know. You can't say publicly that you're less of a person if you don't have kids. You can't say that publicly. I mean, you can think it on the inside, right? No, you cannot.
I don't think everyone
no,
should
absolutely.
or has to aspire to be a parent. Absolutely not.
I don't think so either.
No.
Yeah.
But it's pretty freaking fantastic.
It is. And I actually do think it's sometimes it's very admirable when people decide not to have kids. When you talk through why and they're like, I just don't feel like
sacrifice.
it's for me, or I don't feel like I could give them what they need. And you're like, I should have thought about that. I should. I really should have
or
thought
you
that.
think, good call.
Good call, yeah.
Keep with that thinking.
Yeah.
Because some people should not have kids.
Yes.
And even people who have kids, you sometimes go, wow,
Yeah.
you really have zero instinct for
Yes.
this. Like zero.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of be good at raising dogs or herding cattle to be a really good parent, I feel like. Like if you can do one of those things, if you can work on a farm and be okay, then you pretty much can raise kids.
Yeah.
If you can't, then I think you should probably hire somebody that can help you out. You know?
That has those instincts.
Yeah.
It's an instinct.
And
really.
there is such a big difference between like being an involved parent and having kids.
Yes.
It's very different like conversations of just being like, I'm a parent. And you're like, yeah, you technically have a child, yes. But parenting, being a parent and parenting, like again, like the verb of parenting, like getting in it, that's exhausting and fulfilling and all the things. But someone, you know, if you got one you just call kid.
Although the flip side of that is my dad was the best dad ever. And was super connected to me.
That's
I think
awesome.
for him, I'm not sure my dad ever really saw me as a girl or a boy. He saw me as a kid, right?
So that's how
I think that's really what it was
came about.
because
Yeah.
I went fishing, I, played in the mud, I helped him build things, and I also, wore a dress and went to prom and played with Barbies. And so I had this kind of really ambidextrous personality.
Yeah.
And
You're
I
your
think
own thing.
he just called me kid because I was really just a kid.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
like I would have called you boy or girl, but you didn't.
Yeah, or Missy or Sissy or, in the
You didn't
South.
fit
they call
any
you
of
all
those
kind
terms.
feminine.
Yeah.
And I just didn't fit that. I was always dirty and I was always,
Did you
climbed a
feel,
tree.
especially in the
That's awesome.
South, like, did you feel different that way? Did you feel like not a part of the groups or exiled or?
No, I didn't feel different when I was in the South until I was an adult. And when I got to be an adult, I was like, wow, I don't know. I can't find my friends. Like,
Had
where
you
are my
left
friends?
the South yet, or was that?
No, I had
This is
not
when
left
you
the
were-
South yet.
Okay, that's
No.
interesting.
I couldn't find my friends. And
Your
I went
people.
from like my tiny town to a little bit larger town to Atlanta. And I'm like, I'm just not finding my people.
Yeah.
So I moved to New York and then I didn't find my people there either.
Yeah.
I finally found my people here, which is really different than rural Georgia, completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But I really found my people here. And I was like, I'm never leaving here because this is where my people are. And I don't like have Hollywood people. My people are like regular nobody's in quote in the industry.
Right,
right.
right.
I'm not hanging out with all these fancy people.
Angelina Jolie.
Exactly. No, I'm not even kind of. I get super nervous around people like that because I think I'm pretty regular.
It's good that it keeps you grounded. Though. That's, we talk about that a lot, that I think that the thing in my life that I always reference that keeps me grounded is school drop-offs and pickups.
Absolutely.
Because you're just another parent there. Yep. You're just... Regular. You're dealing with the teacher. You're waiting for your kid.
Elementary school.
You're avoiding the PTA president. Yeah, well, because elementary school is so communal.
And if you're not... Yeah, we chose to live by our school so we could walk and pick up and drop off. And there's just every day a little interaction with like a whole community of parents, kind of the same stage.
And they don't care what you did over the weekend. They don't care that they're like, how was yesterday? I was like, I was on James Corden last night. They're like, fine. What do I care?
Or they're like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, is he the karaoke guy?
Yeah. Is he the guy that like sings in a car?
Like, I could never stay up that late and watch that show. I'll watch it on YouTube.
It's very refreshing, isn't it? That they don't know. They don't have a clue.
They
we
don't
had
care at all.
When the kids were in elementary school, we lived where we could walk to school.
Yeah.
Bert was just a dad.
Yeah.
And now that Bert's gotten a lot more successful, those are still our friends.
Yeah.
That's the same group of people that we had when, he just traveled for whatever work he did. Nobody really understood.
He probably couldn't have found that in rural Georgia, though.
Exactly. That's my point. And you're a comedian?
Yeah. I did a show. I did a show in rural Georgia, and the city was Gray. It was called Gray, Georgia.
Don't even know where that is.
And I remember we walked. It was a church gig, and we go in. It's just me. I got hired. It was like a marriage event, and they're like, maybe we can bring in a comedian too. And then we drive in, and there's a billboard. It's the only billboard in the town, and it says, "Keep Gray rural," as if there was any chance that like Tesla was eyeing Gray. Like we gotta. And I remember
specifically.
And I remember I go into the McDonald's and I want to order a coffee and an oatmeal, and I go, I would like an oatmeal, and they go, we don't have oatmeal. I go, it's right there. I see the oatmeal on the menu, and they're like, we don't have oatmeal, as if like I probably got shipped there. And they're like, that's the box we sit on our break. We don't. And I go, I'm sorry, I'm not from around here. And I swear, the two cashiers in unison go, we know. And during my set, I had like 4 minutes of airplane jokes. And a guy, it sounds like a cartoon, a guy in overalls shouted, "Hey, city boy, quit talking about planes. We never been on one."
That's priceless.
And I was like, okay, I think I need to readjust the act here a little bit.
That's my hometown, 1,600 people.
Yeah.
My grandfather came to our wedding in overalls.
Amazing.
And a tie and a sport coat.
People had never been on planes before, leave the town.
No. Most of my family had never been on planes before, and
that's wild.
Everybody still lives there. It's a lovely way to grow up. It's wonderful to grow up like that.
We did not provide that to our own children.
No, I did not. But my kids get it 2 weeks every year. We go home for 2 weeks every year.
Oh, that's great.
And they get to walk around with my, gun-toting shirtless cousins that shoot snakes on the side of the road.
You gun-toting shirtless.
Not shirtless. Nobody needs to see that. But
you had the overalls on.
Could be. But I wanted them to see that environment,
Yeah.
I wanted them
love that.
to see, where I came from and what's part of who they are.
We made it, we thought that for 2 trips to see my family over the summer, and they were like, never mind.
Wait, where are you from?
So that would have been, about a decade ago, we were like kind of easing into what our family travels and would look like.
It's a big decision what you're gonna do with the family and stuff.
Especially when you only have like 2 weeks off.
Totally.
Like at a real job, and you're like, what are we gonna do?
Right.
How are we gonna spend it? So
her family's from nowhere. They are military, so she doesn't have like roots anywhere. Then even now her folks are split, so everyone's kind of spread out. But specifically, what I was referencing, so a lot of my dad. The Nickersons are based in not that small of rural, but a small town in coastal rural Oregon, Coos Bay, which is like
it's right by the California border.
It's an old mill town.
Okay.
And everybody works at the mill. And like my dad, they were very, very rednecky. Their
like
school had
5 kids.
The city had one black kid in the city. In the city, he was the black kid. And
one high school.
My dad grew up there. They all were like lumberjacks. My dad was a carpenter until they moved up to Alaska and then about down to Seattle, where I was born. But our family would get together once a year at like our lake house, which sounds nice. We have to understand, like, this house was built on my grandfather. When he got disabled, he started selling his pain pills. And then he also started illegal like gambling rooms in his house.
In his basement.
Amazing. I love this guy. Resourceful.
Yeah. And then it kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And every once in a while the cops and the judges like would come shut it down. But they were all in the game.
Oh my
so
God.
Like, sorry, Jim. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
We have to shut you down. And they would like move the stuff to a new room. They're like, it's like an upgrade in rooms.
How funny.
But as you would expect, he was also an addict and a gambling. And so that money did not go very far. But Isla, his wife, my grandma, the money she could get from him, she bought this like property that my dad built the house. So my whole family.
And his dad built the house.
All these these cons and rednecks and every crime. I've always said every crime that our family could commit has committed. Everything you could go to jail for, my family has done. Every way you could die, my family has died that way.
I love it.
And they would all get together for a family reunion. And we made it twice with ours. One year we stayed there. The next year is like, we'll get a hotel in town. And then we didn't make it a third year.
Never made it back, huh?
Yeah, usually around the time the fireworks came out.
Couple times when we were dating, that was a cultural experience.
Yeah.
Well, the first time, so my household growing up was my dad and my uncle Butch, which is everything that you'd imagine Butch to be. So like my dad and Butch both worked at Alaska Airlines together. My uncle, he kind of helped raise us. I use that in the loosest terms. He would work
present.
He worked the swing shift, like 2 to 11, which is the alcoholic shift.
Yeah. Totally.
But the very first time, Butch was like 6'4", 310, big dude. He was always wearing this Terry Labonte NASCAR driver jacket. So he would have a big rooster on it. The first time that sweet little Christian Melissa showed up in my redneck home, Butch is sitting at the top of the stairs.
It was one of those split level homes.
Where you go down or up. Butch lived in the basement. Butch lived in the basement with the bar. And then you walk up and Butch is just greeting you, just already glassy eyed, and kissed her.
Kissed me on the head.
God. Yeah. How
kissed
funny.
you before I had kissed you.
Hi, lovely, or something.
That's amazing.
Welcome to the Nickerson.
And you did not want your kids exposed to these colorful people?
I think they like, every once in a while I'll tell these stories to my son Joel and he'll be like, your family sounds awesome. I was like, I mean, that element of them, yes.
Yeah.
But the other sides of them were, they were what you would expect out of these guys.
But I mean, your dad spends a lot of his year living with us. So it's not like we've abandoned family.
You're probably the same thing. You kind of end up being close to the ones that you're close to. Yeah. Not all of them. But we don't need a big family gathering.
No, pass on the old lake house.
Do your girls like it each year? Or
they love it.
They do? Okay.
They love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Our family's not quite that colorful. But we have some colorful people, but it's not quite that colorful. So it's a little less jarring maybe. But but I mean, we do like float down the river, and my cousins do have like pistols on their hip and no shirts, and they're drinking beer and sinking the beer cans in the river. And my kids are like, you're littering. Wrong crowd. Wrong crowd. And snakes have come out and they've seen them shoot the snake and stuff.
Fun.
So they've seen they really kind of got a taste of it. But not the characters that I grew up with that are similar to what you're describing.
So you had some Butches in your life.
Maybe not criminal activity, but, colorful activity.
Well, it's only a crime if you get caught.
Exactly. That's exactly. A lot of colorful activity. And it was so rich and enriching and fun and informs my life all the time, those kooky, crazy characters.
Yeah.
But no, I did not choose to raise my kids there because I would have been very unhappy.
Yeah.
I would have been really unhappy in rural Georgia with Bert on the road. Are you kidding?
Oh,
no.
yeah.
No way. I'd been, no. So I couldn't do that. How did you guys meet?
Church youth group.
Yeah.
Church youth
Youth
group.
group, man.
What is your religion?
Christians,
Just-
Protestant,
Oh, Protestant, okay.
I don't. How specific do we want to go?
I'm just curious because I grew up Southern Baptist.
Oh, there you go.
Which is very different from Catholicism.
Yeah,
They're both Christian. You know?
Our the non-denominational church that we met in would be beliefs wise, theologically wise, very close to Southern Baptist, but they just dressed a little more casually. That's what it is. Maybe a little more. The music was a little more modern, kind of thing.
Were you allowed to drink?
The pastors were not. I remember that. I remember they were not allowed to drink. Or no, this is so like this is so I don't want to go too deep down this, but like every once in a while, like you hear like some of the religious leaders in the Bible had some really arbitrary rules, the Pharisees, the Pharisaical type rules. And like our pastors at our church, they could not drink within 2 counties of the church.
Oh my God, how funny. So if you're going to make a fool of yourself, you better be out of sight.
Don't do it.
Right? Out of sight. That's
Wait for vacation.
That's so funny.
You're going to a wedding in another state? Perfect.
Yeah.
2 counties, that's great.
You're like, all right, so we're in King County, no to Pierce County. But if you make it all the way down to Multnomah, you can be an addict for all we care. You can kill somebody.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
But there were always like rumors around like that because we were kids at that church, like high schoolers, there would be like we'd be like, oh, but the Campfields, their parents have beer in the fridge. Like it was a known thing if one of your family members did drink, so they weren't against it, but later,
so you must have been living where this youth group was since you were military. Had you?
Yeah,
because it sounds like you were in high school.
Yeah, when my dad got out, he was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. And so he had an electrical engineering degree and he was just really smart and stuff. So he worked for Boeing, like as an engineer. And then he went and did some defense work and he still does that. So yeah, he works with like crazy, PhDs in the desert. Yeah.
Her whole family
real
is
smart guy.
crazy
That's
smart.
Cool.
She's downplaying herself.
Yeah, my mom is too. She's a teacher and she's like math, business, like just... I don't know. They're all really brilliant. Yeah.
Melissa, it was
I'm like the artsy one and the social one.
Melissa was a top 20, like she graduated top 20 in her huge high school, got partial academic scholarship, college graduate, and she's considered the, quote, dumb one.
Yeah, I'm the dumb one.
Wow, not in my house, lady. Not in my house.
It was a lot of high achieving. Like, I mean, my dad was a runner and I was a runner too, and we both ran in college. And so just kind of, if you have a brilliant brother and then your dad's like super high achieving, and my sisters were twins, so I was like always looking for like a way to stand out, I guess.
Yeah. Where was your place? And what was it?
Well, I did student council. So I just like planned every dance and organized the food drives. And I think I just was like, went like towards business and graphic design. And I was just like, I can just manage and plan and do everything for everyone.
You're also a college athlete.
Yeah, that's not to be
you're the
overlooked.
Yeah. You were very high achieving. I am good at 1, maybe 2 things.
Yeah,
and they're both
writing.
They're all communicative based. She can do anything.
You're good with people.
You can learn anything. You are both the man and the woman of the house in so many ways. It's pretty impressive.
I feel like you're our doppelgangers in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
Bert could only do one thing. To do that. His lane,
but man, does he do it.
He does it.
He does.
But if you asked him to he'd probably be a good lawyer if he just didn't have to go to law school and he could make up the law.
I've thought that about
as
myself.
Applied, right? Because he's really good at arguing a point.
Yeah.
Not great at sticking with the facts.
Yeah.
So if he could just not have to deal with the law.
But he could be persuasive.
lawyer?
No,
Perform
we
that.
had a fight in the car on the drive up, and I was thinking, I was
did?
like, I'm good at this. I could work a room. Because what is a jury if not a room, right?
That's true.
You're going, you're looking them in the eye. But
You're
what
like,
do you guys
what
do
do
for
they
work?
need to hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I win my point?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter what you need.
Yeah.
That's the way Bert is. I'm not saying you're that way. Bert sometimes is like, how do I win this?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not
It's a
really
skill.
what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're
Absolutely.
married, you're supposed to say, how do we win this?
Right,
How do
right.
we figure this out? But
Yeah,
anyway.
I've had that thought in my mind where I'm like, marriage is not a competition, but I am winning.
I feel like when we were younger, we were just like kind of like dumb and we would fight. And now I'm just like, no, there's no winning. You
Yeah.
win
there
and
is
you
no
lose.
winning. Yeah.
Congrats. Like,
Well, woohoo.
Yeah.
I know, yes. It's an adjustment, isn't it? And figuring out.
But
What's
Every
worth
once in a
it.
while,
Takes a
you
long
still like
time.
to spar, though.
yeah.
So you have to figure out what's worth it.
Yeah.
Is it worth it to have
Yeah.
a 25-minute intense
Yeah.
debate with someone who's
Yeah.
not going to hear my point
Right.
ever? But then
Yeah.
guess what? 2 weeks later, when we're getting an ice cream cone on a date, I'm going to make my point.
Yeah.
And he'll
yeah.
hear it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's what I do with
I think
Bert
there's-
anyway. I don't know if that's what you do
No,
with
I
Dustin,
think that
but
there's.
that's what I do
I
with
think
Bert.
that there is a like the little spat that we had before this. Mel said essentially like, I'm doing more work around the house than you. I need your help, and that's like a big statement. That's not like a little petty fight, and that's exactly what you're saying. If you're just like, oh well, if we are gonna dive heavy into something, it has to be kind of worth it.
Yeah.
Like, is this actually gonna make an improvement on our relationship?
Yeah, exactly.
In some way, as opposed to, could you pick that up? Could you do that? We had a silly fight 2 days ago because I made my oatmeal sooner than you would have rather me like you were like, hey, can you get Claire to school? And I made breakfast before I got her ready. And that was not worth having a fight over.
Yeah.
But this one was.
Well, for context, we just got back from Europe.
I
got
heard
back
that on your
Sunday
podcast,
morning.
right?
Oh,
You just
Yeah,
came
I
back.
got back Sunday morning and he got back Sunday night because he did an extra gig. And so we've just been adjusting, because I've never left the kids for 9 days. I've done like 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 9 and then he did 2 weeks and you push everything off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, what do I have to do before this trip for
Mhm.
life, the house, the business? And so then now we're in that, like, we're back home, but we got to get stuff done. And,
Right.
And so it's been, I've been sleeping a lot because of the time zones.
Jet lag.
And I'm like, hey, I can't like operate like you, like, cause he travels every weekend, and I'm like, I love my routines. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like
We
a
did our
creature-
pod yesterday, and
creature
it's like, hey, we're
habit,
driving up, we gotta do
and-
land. It's easier, you
yeah.
know.
So I'm like, I can't like turn it on today.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I need to like, I'll like zone out.
Yeah.
Like if I
I know what you mean.
will.
Yeah.
I
You feel the same way.
totally understand.
I was like, I don't have like the performer gene in that, do what he does. And so I'm like, I actually need to like shower and get rest and like be ready.
Yeah.
'cause-
Last night you went to bed. I was like, I need to go to bed early because we got Leanne's pod tomorrow. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
and
it's not a big deal. It's just a podcast.
what you talking about?
and he does like a million of these and I don't,
Yes.
So,
I live in your world also.
Yeah.
I go on the road with Bert
mhm.
and I'm like, midnight, I'm good. And he's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. And he's
I'm
like, I
like,
just
I'm
tweeted
good,
out what
man.
bar we're going to.
If you want a big fat bitch tomorrow, I'll keep staying up. Or you
Yeah.
can let me go to bed and we'll have a good day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Your choice.
That's
but I
funny.
don't do this all day every day.
Yeah. It's
He
hard.
Yeah.
does.
It's hard.
We also were
It's
returning.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful, but
Yes.
it's also hard.
Yes.
It's also the reality of returning from like a trip without the kids that was magical and emotional and passionate and all the things that you would hope. And we're, walking the streets of London 2, 3 a.m. having drinks and meeting people and living our lives. And then you come back and like, I don't want to take the kids to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, we have to reschedule that ward appointment for Claire.
Yeah, I got.
And Joel asked his retainer again, and so needs this.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's a grind.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Parenthood is a grind.
It is a
In the
grind.
best and the worst sense of the word.
Yeah.
It
It's like
never, ever stops.
you do the same thing
Mhm.
for like 15 years.
Yeah.
But then you have to
15?
change it every.
Well, yeah, so far. 15 and counting so far.
Then you have to
For
tweak
you,
it.
Yes. Yes.
How
I'm
many-
still,
Go ahead.
Georgia's 18.
Yeah.
You're right.
Almost
You're right.
19. And I'm like, the grind is farther away because she's in college,
Mhm.
but it still happens. And I'm
Mm.
happy to do it always for
Yeah.
all my kids. But like, perfect example this week, The Woody Show, which is a local radio show, gave Isla, they closed down California Adventure from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. one night a year. It's like Listener Appreciation Day.
Right.
And they always give our kids tickets, which is really, really lovely.
Yeah.
But that means someone's driving them down there at 9 and sitting there till 1. And that's me. And it's like, when he found out I was doing it, he's like, God, you're such a good mom. I would never do this for our children.
Yeah.
I would never do this for our children. Not ever.
I love your...
And I was like, I know. That's why we're a good team, because I just get invested into the fun of it.
Yeah.
Of course
Sounds
I'm going to do that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's the perk of dad. It's one of the perks we get from having your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
my immediate thought was like, I would do that to do it with you, but I would not do it for my kids.
Oh, he would do it with me. If we brought the kids down,
you two were going,
actually, he has done it with me before.
Yeah.
Where we've been there and let them go. He's not doing it by himself. There's no way he's sitting
I am
at the
willing
IHOP
to make a sacrifice and do the hard thing with you, but solo couldn't do it.
No, isn't that
I would
funny?
totally do that. Yeah,
you would
for
do
the
that
kids.
You'd
I
be
got
so
much
happy for
work
him.
done. I literally went to IHOP, bought a 2 + 2 + 2.
Yes.
Which is 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 pancakes. Bring it. I don't eat like that ever.
Yeah.
But I was starving. I think I had eaten like the tiniest salad for lunch and just been running all day. And it was 9:30 by the time I sat down. I was like, screw it. I'm getting the 2 + 2 + 2. I'm eating the whole damn stack of pancakes and I'm working. And I worked. I barreled through so much work that night. I got so much stuff done. It was great.
Yeah.
I love that.
I loved it.
Did you just edit yourself in front of us? Why?
Okay, I was...
Because you're Christians. I don't want to curse. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Don't.
It was funny to see someone edit themselves on their own podcast.
That is so kind.
I don't know you that well, so I was just trying to be considerate.
No, we curse.
I'm just joking about being Christian, but
curse mostly when we're fighting.
No. Yeah, you should have heard him.
All right.
Enough. This week's episode of Wife of the Party is brought to you by Warby Parker. I need glasses. I don't have contact lenses. I have glasses. I have progressives, in fact. And the older I get, the more forgetful I get, and I keep putting them down places and I can't find them. Warby Parker is so affordable. I bought a few pairs and I just leave them all over the house so I don't have to look for them. But they don't just do glasses. They offer everything you need for happier eyes: eyeglasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams. And you can shop online or in the store. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but you go on Warby Parker's website. You can choose 5 frames. They'll send them to your house to try them on with a prepaid return shipping label. So you can try them on the comfort of your own home. And then you send them back. They also have this awesome thing called Add a Pair and Save, where you get 15% off when you purchase 2 or more pairs of prescription eyeglasses or sunglasses, which is what I did so I could have eyeglasses all over the house. Glasses start at $95, and that's including prescription lenses. Try Warby Parker's free home try-on program. Order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free. There's no obligation to buy. Ships free and includes a prepaid return shipping label. Try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/wife. Wife of the Party is sponsored by Babbel. I'm not great at learning languages. I think some people, it just comes super naturally to them. It does not to me. I can barely speak English. I speak redneck really well. I mean, I'm like fluent in redneck, but outside of that, I don't know. But Babbel makes it really easy to learn a language. All you listeners know how much I enjoy construction and working on houses. And we are lucky enough to have a lot of people here, a lot of craftsmen, whose first language is Spanish, not English. So I decided to sign up for Babbel to learn some Spanish because in Southern California, it'd be kind of handy to have. And the lessons are just so easy, and it's 15 minutes. Their lessons are crafted by experts. You learn how to have practical conversations about travel, relationships, business, and more. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 100 language experts. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Babbel has speech recognition technology that helps you improve on your pronunciation and your accent. And there's tons of different ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/wife. That's Babbel, BABBEL.com/wife for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, it's language for life. How did this, since you've been together since high school, sounds like,
Yeah.
what was the trajectory into you being a comic, and how was that decided, agreed upon? Because when I met Bert, he was already a comic.
Right.
I had to have a come to Jesus with myself. Like,
Right.
Are you, eyes wide open? What is your life going to look like? You're signing up for this, like knowing I'm signing up for this big gamble is very different than high school. I mean, did you want to be a comic in high school? I would imagine not.
No, I didn't know what I wanted to do. They were I heard Marin say this once about like, you got into comedy because he knew he had something to say. And I think that's what it was for me. I didn't know what it was, so I tried a bunch of different things. They were all kind of in the communication world. Like I started off, I was like, I want to be a journalist. I want to be a sports writer. I went down that road. I was like, I don't like that. And I was like, well, maybe I should be like a preacher and, like be a pastor.
Same vein,
And then that wasn't it. And then, well, maybe I'll just like be a writer and like do like, like run like a comedy blog. This was the early 2000s. People did this stuff. And that was kind of it. And then when we moved from Seattle to San Diego, it was kind of a fresh start. And at that point, I had a day job just working at a rec center. And I was like, I've always
just doing sales,
like
membership.
I've always wanted.
Why'd you move?
Yeah.
For the job. Yeah.
For the
and to
job.
get out of Seattle. We just kind of.
We had like the rainiest summer there, like on record.
Yeah.
And the kids were very active and they were 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And they were climbing the walls.
And they were trapped.
And we were doing like rain walks all summer. And we were like,
so we had an opportunity
let's go.
to make the same amount of money essentially in San Diego. And it cost about the same to live in. And you're like, peace, we're out of here.
Totally.
So, but because I had like kind of a fresh start, like, and it's weird to start stand up. It's especially as a grown up. Like I was 27, married for 9 years, had 2 kids when I showed up to my first open mic.
Hold on. You got married at 18?
Yeah. Or no, 19.
19 and
she was
20.
20. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
That's young.
Yeah,
you guys
really.
are
Super
lucky.
young.
We're very fortunate.
We are
You
lucky.
we found each other.
We are.
We say it all the time. And I you almost feel guilty sometimes.
Why?
Well, because there is a dumb luck to relationships.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's both. I think there's the work and the sacrifice, but there's also, especially when you get married so young, that you find each other and that you grow
together.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what age you get married, really. Unless you're maybe 70.
I agree.
Yeah.
But,
that being said, I do think it takes effort to grow together.
100%.
So there is both a luck and also, the hard work of being like, well, are you empathetic? Are you understanding? Are you open-hearted? Do you communicate your dreams, your desires, your wants, your frustrations, all these things? That's how you grow together, is you're open. But also, it can just be unlucky. So, I was like a grown man when I showed up at open mic. But it was a little bit like the clouds opening up type moment where you're like, oh, this is it. I found the thing that I wanted to do in front of 2 tables at Madhouse Comedy Club in downtown San Diego.
I will say, I took Dustin on a date night with a Groupon.
That's true.
Nice.
To at 9 p.m.
To the Comedy Palace to go see Jeff Dye in Claremont. Yeah.
Nice.
Our little kids were asleep. We had a friend come over just to stay in the house, and we went. And I think you said you saw like the opener. And you were like, well, I could do that.
Right?
But then I saw Jeff come on and I go, but I can't do that.
Oh,
That's, Jeff's so funny. He was so good. He did everything. But it did, going to a smaller, San Diego is a big city, but going to a comedy club outside of LA or New York, and there, if you do see a local, there is a little bit more of an attainability factor.
Sure.
Where
I would
you're
imagine,
that's
as
not.
opposed to just like TV, which is what.
Or Jeff, the headliner.
Yeah,
you're
of
like, that's a
course.
15, 20-year vet,
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of like, I'm not as good as the opener, but I I could get there.
You could try.
I could try. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
It wasn't so overwhelming that I couldn't try.
Because I was like, oh, well, Dustin likes comedy. I know that.
I grew up in love with stand-up. Yeah, stand-up.
You did?
I've loved stand-up my whole life.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah, because
You
I was the
watched
Comedy
Comedy
Central
Central.
era. Yeah, that's all in the 90s. That's all it was, and I would just memorize Gaffigans and Dane Cooks and
Chopping broccoli was your
well, that
email.
was the HBO special. My first email was chopping broccoli. Yeah, it was.
From
I
Dana Carvey.
loved stand up my whole life. So
yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So when I found it, it kind of clicked.
So after that show, did you go, hey, I'm going to give that a shot? And then you just tried
I just kept going. That's what it was. I was like, hey, I really liked this. And there was no, I don't know, was there ever...
Well, there was an open mic. I remember your first open mic. But I also, I wanted 3 kids and we had 2. And I was like, now's the time.
Yeah.
You know, like, because
real
there was
artists
already
here to say that.
There was already a gap because we had moved from Washington to California. And I was like, we should probably have our 3rd, you know? And so I was pregnant. So I was like, do whatever you want. Go to whatever open mic.
I'm going to bed at 8.
Right.
Again, go to whatever open mic you want. I'm so busy.
Just get out of my hair.
And I would bring her home when I first started getting when I got passed at my first club in Madhouse. And
they had this chocolate
They
cake.
had a chocolate cake that Carrie, the most wonderful server, she knew every time I was there, I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't have anything. She's like, Dustin's going to want a chocolate cake to go.
For you.
For you.
And I would literally wake up
She
and
would-
have
She would tell me to wake her up.
Amazing.
She would wake up pregnant.
That's
eat some
adorable.
chocolate cake.
Oh my God.
And then wake up with it on her pillow.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
So yeah, and then it just, it was the grind of comedy is very exciting very early on because it's like, oh, I got passed at this club or I got this work.
You get
and
some
then,
yeses.
And you start up you're paying money to perform and then you break even and then they give you some money. And then I'll my first paid gig was at Mike's Barbecue in Escondido, California. And they paid me $50 and a beer. And I was like, I've done it.
I've made it.
That felt better than being
Was it an imported beer or domestic? Depends,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I mean, I live in San Diego. It was a delicious IPA.
Right.
That felt just as good as getting on Comedy Central for the first time. The same level of joy and satisfaction, maybe more the $50 in the beer, honestly.
I know those early wins.
And then it
so
starts paying for
much.
groceries, and then it starts, picking up a little
And then
more.
we're like, oh, we're gonna go one night in Temecula.
And are you were working while this was happening? How were you supporting yourselves?
Yeah,
I still worked a day job.
You still
so
worked a
he
day
did
job.
both.
Got it.
Yeah,
I spent. Go ahead.
because our kids were preschool. The math just
Yeah, it doesn't. I
Right.
hear you.
yeah, with 3 in childcare, and so. Then I just started doing the books and.
Well, now she's the CFO of the operation.
I've always done
I
our
saw that.
taxes and all that stuff. So I just kind of took on more and more of that.
It's a total.
as
You're so.
he grew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're so custom built for it though, and that it is this. It's there's you need a Swiss Army knife early on our stage right now, especially when you're I always say I'm not a big thing, but I'm not a thing. I've got some followers, get some fans. We sell some tickets. We've done some things, got specials, those things. But we're not we don't have a business manager. We don't have a staff. I'm unrepped. I don't have a manager or an agent.
Really?
It's
we have a lot of part-time folks that help us out, you know, with their niche things.
she manages them all. It's incredible.
That's great.
Sometimes I have to tell her, I was like, remember to be nice to this person.
Isn't that?
I don't have all those skills, the people skills, this is very uncomfortable for me, but I'm happy that he involves me. I'm just creature of habit, just do my same routine every day. But this is all better. It's better that I'm, being pushed out of my comfort zone.
Right.
So
I was very similar to you guys. We were very similar to you guys. I managed an apartment building when we were first married.
Nice.
And that gave us free rent, health insurance, and I got paid $1,200 a month.
Wow.
So, and then Bert was trying to do his thing.
Yeah.
And I ran all the books. I paid all the bills
Taxes,
and did all of his accounting
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And when he finally got let's see, when was it? I guess it was after he'd been at Travel Channel for a year or two.
Wow.
We gave
You were doing it that
the
long.
money over. Yeah. We gave the money
Yeah.
responsibilities over
But
to a
you
business
saved
manager.
so much
We
money
saved so much money.
by you
So
doing
much.
it for that long.
We did. And when we gave it over to the business manager, it was really hard to do because that money piece where I was like, am I really going to give this guy that much money a
The
year
paycheck.
to
Yeah.
do something that I am doing for essentially for free?
Right.
Yeah.
But I needed it to happen because it made me miserable. I
Yeah.
hated
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
enjoy
stressful.
it. It was
Yeah.
very stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it made me, I started resenting Bert for it because I held all the stress.
Yeah.
He just got to go have fun, hand me the check essentially.
Yeah.
And when we got to that point,
Oh, stop
got
it.
No, this
really
is a timely
resentful.
conversation for us to hear. This
Is it?
No, this is very good
No,
for me
I-
to hear what you're saying.
but I will tell you this, that was the best money we ever spent because it took all of that resentment. It became obvious to me very quickly how much that negatively affected my life and what that 5% I gave him added to my life by
Yeah.
taking that off my plate.
Yeah.
I became instantly happier. It was very shortly after I got over we're really going to give this guy this much money. Oh my
Right,
God.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really even that much money. And at that time,
Yeah.
it was that we went from paying nothing
right.
to
Yeah.
paying like, you know,
Yeah.
20 grand a year. And you're
Yeah.
like, 20 grand a year. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And,
Yeah.
And
But even especially coming from humble roots and stuff, you're like,
Yes.
wow, I'm not going to let somebody else touch
No
my
way.
money.
Yeah.
That's what
Absolutely.
rich people do. I don't have a
100%.
business
He's probably
manager.
going to rip us off.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's completely not been our case. But it took that anger, resentment
Yeah.
completely away immediately.
Yeah.
Because and in my own self-regulation, I was like, I don't resent him for the travel. I'm not resenting him for, I love what he's doing. I'm supportive. I'm, best team player. What's the problem? And that was the problem. The problem was I held all the stress and he held relatively none. And
Yeah.
I needed to feel a lot less stressed about
Yeah.
it. So God, it was so helpful just to pay somebody to do
It
that.
feels like an articulation maybe of how some of you have been feeling about it. Yeah. I mean, it is stressful.
Well, I think I did train a girlfriend.
Yeah.
She does the bookkeeping with me. But I still haven't given her our account, passwords and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I still it's a back and forth and I
Part
have
of me-
accountability.
Part of
Yeah.
you, there's
You
a
know?
fear that
Yeah.
somebody else sees all your purchases and stuff.
Yeah, so we had that too.
Yeah, you're like, I
was
don't need you to
embarrassed
judge
and-
me.
Yeah, I was embarrassed. Well, I'll tell you what happened when we hired a business manager. I don't know if you believe in this theory, but I don't even know if I have a theory, but
Yeah.
I like it.
when he
Go with it.
Mel's in already.
Right, you're in already.
Let's hear it.
So the pitch that our business manager said to us was, the thing about having a business manager is not only do I take all that minutia off your plate, he's able to holistically look at our whole life and see where we're spending our money smartly and to help us figure out.
Right.
And this is how he got me. He said, in our service, we look at your health insurance. We see how much you're paying per month because as comics, you pay for your own
Yeah.
health insurance. We were not SAG at that point.
Right.
We
Yeah.
paid for our own private health
Yep.
insurance. And he said the difference between $50 a month may be the difference between a terrible car accident landing you in the hospital and bankrupting you because you don't have the right coverage
Yeah.
and not.
Mm.
So I'd much rather tell you for $50 more a month, you're completely protected. Same with
Yeah.
your health insurance. I mean, same with your life insurance.
Yeah.
The same with your homeowner's insurance. The same with your auto insurance. Just that piece as a service. And I went, okay, I have no interest in figuring this shit out. I will
Yeah.
not be deep
Yeah.
diving in the insurance black
No.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how he sold me. And then in addition to that, he was like, he gave me a measurable way to say, this is how we're going to grow your money.
Right. Right.
And he
You're going to make
achieved
money and
Yeah.
save money.
Yes,
by
at the end
investing.
of the day, I'm going to make you more money than
Yeah.
my fee.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he did. He
Yeah.
has.
Mhm.
Yes.
I love that.
So-
That's good.
Melissa's
so
ready
you
to
know,
sign
All
up.
right.
Because I was like, because at a certain point, I was making our money work for us in
Yeah.
that I was budgeting and I was being frugal and I was
Yeah.
being smart with it. And then when we had a little extra money, that's out of my depth.
Right.
What do you do with this
Yeah.
extra money?
Right.
And I am from very blue collar.
Yeah.
And I don't have anyone to ask.
Right.
You know, there's no one for me to go and say, hey, I've got an extra $50,000.
Yeah.
What do I do with it? Do I start a college fund?
Yeah.
Do I buy
Right.
a piece of property? You know, what do I do with it?
It's
and
weird.
he does that for us.
That's great.
So
I feel like running our business, it's like you question the decisions, like small and big, whereas you're like, I hope I'm making there's so many decisions.
yes.
And like you were saying this, like I know I'm working hard, but am I working hard in the right place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have I made the right little decision?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's
Are you
Constantly
working
doing that.
smart?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I used to have
It's
an
hard to
insecurity that I wasn't working hard enough. And
then
then
you're
I
like,
was
there's
like,
not another night to go up.
well, that's the
Like,
thing. You're like,
Yeah.
I work every
every
night. I do
stage.
things, I post on social media every day. I mean, I know you know a little bit of your reputation amongst comics, and they're like, you're the hardest. You work harder than any of them. When Nate said that on his pod about me, Bergazzi, you're like, this guy grinds it out. This guy works hard. You love to hear that. I mean, you'd rather them say you're funny, but
Or maybe both.
they are both. Yeah.
The funniest, hardest working guy.
But then you go, but am I working smart? Because what we just did, we just invested for the first time in our podcast, like a little studio space and a paid producer where we do video. And you know what? Right now, it is breaking even.
Right.
But you're like, if one camera breaks, if one thing I have to replace, if one ad sponsor drops, because, you know, we're not on a network, it's just us. I'm selling these ads. You go, like there is.
There's a risk.
So you go, is that the right investment? Should I be doing that? Should I be?
I'll answer your question. It is.
What?
That is the right investment.
That is the right,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Just keep doing that.
Okay.
Yes.
Into the studio specifically? Or
Yep.
Or just everything online all the time?
But the podcast world is such an amazing.
It's been good to the Crashers.
Oh, it has been, but not
Yeah.
just that. It's an amazing way to be accessible to your fans
Right.
in a very personal way. Even if you don't talk about personal things,
Yeah.
you're personally talking to someone else about whatever your subject matter is.
Yeah.
And it just, that feeds itself. I think it feeds people
Yeah.
wanting to see you live. And the live people then want to see more of you.
Yeah.
And that's how they can get access
You're
to
right.
you.
Yeah.
And then the ad sales will come.
And those podcast listeners, they're such deep fans.
They are.
They feel so connected to you that they go, they're starting to do a thing now. Because it was forever, the podcast was me talking to a comedian.
Yeah.
Which it's like there's so many better versions of this than me that are bigger and better. And then during COVID, I was like, I don't want to round up guests. I don't want to do Zooms. Let's just me and you do it. And it dipped and then it started climbing because it's like, oh, well, we have a thing here that is different.
Yeah.
And then we still have guests on periodically, like once a month or so. But it is, people feel so connected to it that they, at shows now, at signing the book or whatever at the meet and greet lines, and they're like, "Where's Mel?" I was like, "All right, let's not get carried away."
Back off, people. I know Bert said that many times. He was like, "You can never be more famous than me."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I have no aspiration to be that.
Yeah.
Thank you." I do this podcast because I really like having conversations with people.
Yeah.
And my whole point when I started the podcast was, people listening can learn what I'm learning. So if I learn something from our conversation, then I'm of service to the world. I very much believe in being of service in your life, and you're not just servicing yourself. You service other people.
It's really
well,
good.
I service other people in many ways. I run a Girl Scout troop now for 11 years. I'm really hardcore into volunteering.
That's great.
Tithe. We give a lot of money to charity every year.
That's great.
Purposefully. But so part of my whole value system is about being of service. So when I was feeling very lost, and Bert was like, you should start a podcast. And I was like, who wants to listen to me?
Yeah.
And I don't really want to be, that's that comedian's wife.
Name
And
dropping.
she's doing that because
Yeah.
she's just his wife. And who does she think she is? And I definitely get people who comment that.
Yeah.
But I had to be very clear with my intention. Why am I here? It's not really to be famous at all. It's to be of
good.
service.
Yeah.
So that if someone listening to Bert finds me and I'm having a conversation with you about something parenting that makes someone at home go, oh yeah, I'm doing that too. Or I could learn from that, or I needed to hear that today.
Right.
That's my whole purpose.
That's great.
So
I love that.
Then people recognizing me at his shows are just like, that's lovely. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
But it's not, at least I don't think it's ego driven. I don't think I'm like, hey, look at me, guys. Clearly, all my lack of makeup I have on today.
They love it. The fans love it. Like I've seen it at shows, like when you've been at shows and you've been standing in the back and like the opener's on, I've seen tables be like, that's Melissa. She's right there. And I'm like, I'm right here. Come on.
It's because you have an authentic marriage. You have a real marriage, and it's
Thank you.
That's what not to get sentimental here, but there is an element. What I like about the pod, and I've always said this, is you have a side of yourself that is, and I have this as well. Yeah. It's only like that with each other. And I like that everyone else gets to see this because I'm crazy about you. So I love that other people get to see that side of you and be like, no, this is great. I have this thing, everybody. It's Melissa. She's great. Just go to see it. But and the fact that you two don't want it makes it even cooler.
Right.
You're like, I don't really need this. Whereas then Bert and I are like, love me.
Give me. More. Yes.
Take more pictures of me.
Why do you want to see her?
Yeah.
It's not actually like that.
We watched Mulaney's special on the drive up. I listened to it. And when he said at the beginning, he's like, I need attention. I love attention. You're like, yes.
Third out of 4 children. Yes. Yeah, that was him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I had when I did the fully loaded dates, I forgot my glasses. I have ADD. I forget stuff all the time, and I don't usually wear them when I'm flying and stuff because my eyes get tired and stuff. But I realized I totally forgot my glasses, and Tay and I were walking around, and I was like, I gotta get some sunglasses. You know, Taylor and I were on what we call during the daytime part of the shows anyways, where it was the sun
was still out.
It was the most unbelievable lineup ever. Like it was stupid. And now they're getting even more crazy. It was the most fun I've ever had touring.
So glad.
I've never had a better time than I did.
That is music to my ears. Because I don't know if you know this, but when Bert said, I want to do an outdoor comedy festival. And I said to him, this is what this should be. Our goal should be to break even. This is not about making money. This is about giving. Yeah. And here are the arms in which we're going to give and be of service. Yeah. We're going to give comics. We're going to pay them what they should be paid because a lot of festivals don't pay well. They pay kind of terribly. Yeah. We're going to give them incredible swag. Yes. And we're going to, our goal is for them to leave going, that was the best show I've ever done. I had so much fun. Yeah. I would do it again over and over again.
In a heartbeat, I would.
And then we gave 10% of what we personally earned to Comedy Gives Back. Awesome. Last year, we're doing it again this year. That's our personal earning, not from the festival. We didn't take a dime from the festival. We took it from what we made in our pocket. That's great. And we wanted to give the audience an opportunity to see some legendary acts like Attell. Yeah. They may not even know who he is because he's not heavy on social media. And to give people they may not know in that broader audience an opportunity to be in front of this broad audience. It was the whole focus of it was to give and to have you say it was so amazing.
As one of those legends like Attell, it was such an honor to be thought of. I wasn't the other one that you were talking about, right? I wasn't the up and comer looking for exposure.
Babe. You're a legend.
No, it was you, it was Attell, Big J, and Dustin.
Joey Coco Diaz, whatever. No, it was. You know what I mean? We wanted to be really well rounded.
I've never had more fun touring than that. It was incredible. I loved every second of it. The whole thing was such a what's
audacious.
The word? It was audacious. It was spectacular. It was an event.
That's what we wanted.
And I did feel like, because my instinct going in was like, listen, I know drunks. I was raised by drunks. I perform in comedy clubs. And I was like, this is going to be drunk. It's going to be outdoor. I've been to music festivals. This crowd is going to be rowdy and it's going to be hot. It's going to be outdoors. This is going to be awful. That was my thought going in. But they are so grateful for the experience. It's like it is like a music festival. Like and you're
Coachella.
Like, listen, I love Blink-182 and the Foo Fighters. That's who's headlining this year. Whoever it may be. I'm just making up, hypotheticals.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and some legendary and some up-and-comers are going to be there? Great. Thank you for putting this whole thing together. And that's what the crowds felt like. You could tell, because I love to, I would go talk to the crowds afterwards. I love being out with them and talking to them, both because I'm grateful and also I need the ego boost. Tell me I'm worth something. And, but they were all immensely outpouring, grateful for the show. So
that's great to hear.
The story I was going to tell you at the beginning of that was I forgot my glasses. Yeah. And so I was like, but I performed during the daytime before the intermission anyways. So I'll just get some sunglasses. So I went to 7-Eleven and I got this, just your standard cheap Oakley looking things.
It's like a flame.
They didn't have a flame. They had a splattered paint.
Yeah.
Who's your Jackson Pollock kind of look to it. But it was all bright colors, very kind of 80s, but a $4.99 version of it.
Nice.
And Bert goes I can't believe you're performing on stage in sunglasses. And I was like, it's so sunny out. I don't really have a choice. And I was like, and he goes, yeah, but does it have to be those sunglasses? Don't you think those are a little much? And I was like, this coming from Bert,
all right.
who then an hour later sprinted to the stage from the dugout to enter Sandman and ripped off his shirt and told me my sunglasses were a little too much.
Yeah, right.
I was like, all right, I might need to scale these back.
That's so funny. Oh, Bertrude.
Yeah.
But
it was a wild tour. And some of the experiences were just there'll be nothing be like that. We were out on Father's Day and I was FaceTiming you and Bert was like, let me talk to her.
Yeah, they got off the private jet and Bert said, hi, I'm Bert. Happy Father's Day.
We got off the private jet where everybody was drinking. We did yoga and then had a foot race.
Oh my God.
Of which I won.
Right.
But,
did you win?
Oh yeah.
It was sweet.
I'm deceptively athletic. But yeah, he was nice to you.
Bert really buttered me up on that FaceTime.
He did.
He did the thank you so much. So glad he's out here. And it was very sweet.
He's a very sweet guy. He's a very regular guy. I think people think he's like he is on stage at home. He's not. He's pretty subdued. Yeah. He's so glad to be home. This is very much his soft place to fall. And he's not running jokes. He's not, shucking and jiving, so to speak. He's not doing any of that. Is that an inappropriate term? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe PC, but whatever.
That's so funny.
Sorry, I apologize if I just said something not politically correct. But
do you guys have one of our hardest things when we come back from the road, and you've been doing this a lot longer, that struggle of re-entry?
Oh, that's what we call it.
Yeah.
It's called re-entry.
Re-entry,
We speak to our kids about it.
Okay.
For years, we've been like, Dad's in re-entry.
Okay.
We all have re-entry.
Right.
Because I have to adjust too to this Tasmanian devil that's just shown up.
Yeah.
And then...
And we hit the ground everything. This is what happened. And
me. And for Bert, it's it's hard for him to realize that we're not on his schedule.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I'm sorry, drum. Is this new?
We've had this discussion so many times. It feels so validating and good. Right? It feels like we're not alone.
No, you're not
because
alone.
we come home and I'm like, bah, la, 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 la,
and then she goes, drum practice. Yeah. You go, fuck drum practice. I'm home 2 days a week.
I'm the drummer.
Exactly.
I'll teach the kids drums.
Why does she have drum practice on Tuesday? I don't know. Because she's in the high school drum corps and the high school says it's Tuesday.
And then
what do you want from me?
Another one of it too is when I will then start parenting a little.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, we discussed this, or you're like, we don't handle that like that anymore. And I'm like, I was gone 3 days.
I know.
We're gentle parents now.
Yeah, right.
There's just so much that everyone takes adjusting to this. I've told this to Taylor a lot of times before that I think it's harder to be left and come back to than to leave and get to come back.
Both are hard.
I think it's different.
Both are hard.
I think what you do is harder though, at least.
Because I've done canoe weeks, tournaments, travel tournaments with my daughter, and she goes and sleeps in her friends' rooms, and I'm just like,
I mean, the road is hard. Yeah.
You know, like you think I would just be like, time to myself.
Yeah.
But I'm like sad that.
Yeah.
Oh, the hotel room by yourself is
Yeah,
the
like,
saddest
it's
thing in
like-
the world. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm in the
not
middle
to me,
of
buddy. I
You-
love
Oklahoma.
freaking
just
get
like,
you people off me. I love a hotel room by myself. Favorite thing ever.
Oh, man.
Maybe not for days on end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One night, hell
I'll give
to
you
the
one
yeah.
night. Yeah.
It's just like when it's been a week and then
Yeah.
you start thinking about like how your kid's growing up and you're like,
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
So reentry is just, I'm glad
Reentry
that
is
that's
real.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not just for us. One of our closest friends, husband is a big movie producer,
Mhm.
and he travels like
A
you
lot.
guys do.
Probably
Yeah.
even more.
But not
Yeah.
even as back and forth so much. He's gone for like a month and then
Mhm.
comes back. And one of the reasons that she and I are so close is, I think, is because of the reentry,
Mm.
Yeah.
because of the single parenting and then
Yeah.
the disruptive parenting that happens when they come back.
Yeah.
And I know something that Bert and I really did not struggle with until until Georgia was well into high school was some of the big ticket items that happen when the kids start really pushing the envelope, like
Mm.
Yeah.
trying weed and like
Mhm.
drinking
Right.
and like stuff every
Driving.
high school teenager does.
Yeah.
I was so used to nipping it in the bud without him here that that and Bert didn't care about the things I was nipping in the bud, but those really serious things that I was
Yeah.
like
Right.
nipping it while he wasn't here
Right.
became problematic for us.
Interesting. Yeah.
So when it got to be that kind of high dollar stuff,
Mm.
and I didn't include Bert, it made Bert feel. It made him feel like he was not important in the family.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it made him feel like I was robbing him of the opportunity to be a parent to Georgia.
Mm.
And so we had never had
That
any
makes
issues
sense.
with
Mhm.
parenting because I just handled it because,
Yeah.
so-and-so stealing so-and-so's pencil at school, not that
What do
big of a
we-
deal.
Yeah.
But when
Mhm.
Georgia, we busted her smoking weed, I busted her, and Bert was on tour on some big tour,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he was really stressed out, and he was calling me with all of his stresses,
Mhm.
and I was like, now's not the right time.
You're like,
And a
hey,
month
honey, you
went
need to
by.
get some of this weed that I found from our
Exactly.
daughter and calm
Let
down.
me show you this hookup I got. But when he finally found out,
Yeah.
it was really bad because he felt like I had been deceptive or I didn't trust him to
Yeah.
parent it. When really my intention, I was trying to protect him
Right.
because he was so
Yeah.
stressed.
Right.
But I was incorrect.
Right.
I was completely wrong.
Right.
It feels like this. Does
Yes.
that make sense? Like they're having like this huge moment, and then at the same time over here, like it just feels
There's
so
real stuff
different,
going on.
You know,
Yeah.
like or
Yeah.
like oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so and so had a crush, and it, like
yeah, we had a we had
yeah.
a boyfriend in the house, not in the house, but and I didn't know about it, and we're not even against it. But I was talking to Gloria, our daughter, about it. She's like, I have a boyfriend now, and you're like, I didn't know about that. And she's like, well, mom did, and I'm like, what? You know, there is an element, and I think that instinct that you have is like a very respectful one. But as the parent who's away, we already.
There's an insecurity.
If we're
Yeah.
worth a damn as a father,
Yeah.
then we already do feel pretty guilty
Yeah,
for
that's
being
Bert,
gone.
yeah.
And we already feel detached
Mhm.
and we want to be as involved as we can from a distance. And I would happily put my stuff to the side for a little bit to be like, oh, no. I especially, and I think there's something there worth a damn as a partner too, where you're like, I want to help carry this burden with you because,
No,
it's already.
absolutely a contrast that you're like, wow. But
It's hard too because I bet your personality type, Mel, like me, is just caretaker.
Yeah, just
And
get it
if
done.
you see
Yeah.
your partner is struggling, you don't want to give them one more thing to struggle about
Right.
or one more thing to distract
Yeah.
or
yeah,
a burden or whatever. I mean, like for the example of Georgia getting busted smoking weed, I was like, I got that. I can carry this. I got no problem
Right.
carrying this
Mhm.
so that you don't have to now. And then to be honest with you, I had parented it and handled it and moved on. So by the time she found out, I'd forgotten about it because I'd handled it.
Right.
But when he reacted the way he reacted, I was like, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I ever thought that was the right path. And I 100% thought it was the right path in the moment. I really did.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know until it happened. Yeah.
And then it happened. And then from then on, we busted Georgia lying. I busted her drinking. She was doing nothing big. It was just all high school stupid stuff.
Yeah, kid stuff. Yeah.
And so every time I'd be like, gotta tell you what happened today.
Yeah.
I understand you're stressed, but I need you.
And I do think that does ground them to some degree.
It does.
Yeah.
Because it
It's
puts
reality.
the problems in perspective.
Uh-huh.
Like the family is way more important than the ticket sales. Like, you know?
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
The difference between like parent and non-parent on the road, sometimes that's one of the conversations Tay and I have a lot of, just be like, we had this when we were in Europe. She's like, how was your guys' morning? And you're like, oh, well, we had a kind of a shared breakdown over our daughter's anxiety. And she was like, oh, okay. And not to say her life isn't hard. It's incredibly hard. And they do challenges, but there are those little things do keep you so grounded and attached to, I don't want to say reality, but just attached to other people's issues, just attached to like, other singular struggles that everybody else has. And you're more than happy to hear about on the road. You're more than, now I wouldn't say I want to deal with a lot of marital issues while I'm on the road. Like that can be, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like if we have we have had hard conversations while I'm on the road, but if there's like strife or communication or something like that, like money talks, anything like that, you're like, hey, I'm going to be home in a couple days. Is there any way we can sidebar this?
Table it.
Yeah. But the family, the parenting issues, you're like, please. I love that they have phones now, and they're trying to text them and just try and
check in
you're
with
like
them.
You're out there going like, don't forget me. I don't want this to be a real cats in the cradle situation.
Right. That's so funny because Bert and I sometimes have an easier time talking about marital stuff on the phone.
Oh, interesting.
It's not so personal.
Yeah. Did you guys talk on the phone a lot when you first started dating?
Mm-mm.
No,
that boy, I couldn't shake him, man. I could not get rid of that freaking boy. As soon as we went on first date, he was like, what are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing tomorrow?
Oh, that's
What
awesome.
are you doing tomorrow? He wanted to see me
like
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bert was 30. He wasn't in high school like you guys. It was later. He was almost 30. But no, we didn't really talk on the phone a lot. We've always been good communicators, but when he's home, part of that reentry is an adjustment, almost like a mental health adjustment sometimes, where he will take things personally that aren't personal because he's been out so long.
Yeah.
And you're like, buddy, I'm just saying, how about you take out the garbage?
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, really?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that?
You're going to say I'm an involved father.
I'm a loser now? And I'm like, I just fucking asked you to take out the garbage. This is really not. I always say part of reentry is everything for him is an 11.
Yeah.
And the hard part of that is, for me, I can never have 11.
Yeah.
Because he's already at 11.
Oh, interesting.
So I have to stay super regulated.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stay. So if I have something really going on, like if there's something, if I'm butthurt about something that happened that I need to talk to him about that involves him, I cannot do it face to face.
Oh,
because
interesting.
when he gets home, he's already at 11.
Yeah.
Of like everything is bumping him.
Yeah.
So then I have to hold it. And when he gets on the road, I'll
like
go,
overstimulated.
hey, let me talk to you about ABC. And then he can hear me. And then we can talk about it again.
Interesting.
But that's a lot easier for me than if he comes home and I go, hey, and he talks to you about ABC. And then he's like, now?
Yeah.
You can talk now?
Well, because
oh my God, fine. And you're like, seriously, dude?
You're like, this is a bad start.
Yeah, now.
Well, because this is rest for him, right? It's like I've been out doing this thing.
That's
I've been working, and now I'm coming home, and this is supposed to be the beanbag chair that I fall into.
Yes, all bluebirds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All bluebirds. And, life is not all bluebirds.
No.
So for us, anytime we've had any kind of real serious problem, not anytime, but 90% of the time, I talk to him on the phone about it. This podcast is sponsored by DockATot. Do you know what DockATot is? If you don't, you should check it out, especially if you're pregnant, if your spouse is pregnant, if you have someone in your life who's pregnant, if you're going to be a grandma or grandpa soon, if you're invited to a baby shower. DockATot has tons of stuff for babies and moms. Especially interesting to me is the Kind bassinet. The Kind bassinet is obviously a bassinet that's made of cardboard. And that sounds kind of crazy that you'd make a bassinet out of cardboard, but it's adorable and it's portable and it's recyclable. And babies are in bassinets for like 5 minutes and then they're in a crib. So it's a great idea to have this beautiful bassinet, but at the end of the day, it's just one extra piece of furniture you have to deal with. And this Kind bassinet makes so much sense to me because, you know, I worked from home when my babies were small. And if I had had a Kind bassinet 18 years ago when Georgia was born, I could have easily moved that bassinet from place to place in my house as I was working. I could also put it in the back of my car and take it over to her aunt's house if she needed to stay with her for a minute and needed a bassinet. It just makes so much sense to me to have a bassinet that's portable, that's lightweight, that's made of cardboard so you can recycle it and feel good about it, right? It includes also a supportive Serona foam core mattress and is 100% cotton washable fitted sheet. So it comes like as one package. This makes so much sense to me. I gave a Kind bassinet to a friend at a baby shower and she loves it. She uses it all the time because she can just toss it in her car and pop it up wherever she needs it. Again, it comes with a mattress and 100% cotton washable fitted sheet. It's the perfect gift. My friend loves hers, and I think you or your friend would love theirs too. After all, Mother's Day is around the corner. Babies, mamas, and gift givers. This is the best brand you can buy for the precious child and mom you love most. For a limited time, get 15% off at DockATot.com with the code WIFE. That's 15% off with the code WIFE at DockATot, DockATot.com. Parenting is hard, but DockATot makes it easier. Wife of the Party is brought to you by LifeMD. Okay, I think this is kind of the best thing ever. When I'm sick, and I don't get sick often, but when I'm sick, I can never get an appointment to see my doctor. For instance, you know if you have a sinus infection, you know it. And can you get to see your doctor? No, you have to go to urgent care and expose yourself to a million different germs and wait in line for 18 hours. And LifeMD just makes that so much easier. I mean, it's healthcare without the system. It's an online virtual medical provider that takes the hassle, the expense, the discomfort, and the confusion out of seeing a doctor and getting the care you need. When you sign up to become a LifeMD member, you can get doctor expertise, diagnoses, prescriptions, lab referrals, and more. And it's 100% online, right from your computer or from your smartphone. Visit LifeMD now or download their app and see why LifeMD is transforming American healthcare. I mean, for someone like Bert, who's on the road all the time, this is the best thing ever. And one of the best parts about LifeMD is how affordable and transparent their pricing is. You'll pay up to 90% less for lab orders and prescription medications. That is huge. And get this. The average LifeMD patient saves about $892 a year on healthcare. Come on, this is a no-brainer. LifeMD is the simplest way to get the healthcare you need, where and when you need it. Become a LifeMD member today for on-demand video visits with a doctor, unlimited messaging with your LifeMD care team, and so much more. Membership plans start at a little more than $1 a day. So don't wait. Visit lifemd.com/wife to get started and experience the difference of virtual healthcare. That's lifemd.com/wife.
We've found recently that ours have been on walks and hikes.
Oh, nice.
That's where we have hashed it out and we can kind of go yell at each other in the clouds simultaneously.
Yeah.
But phone chat is hard because there's always so much going on that it's hard to pin you down for a while, you know? And
the time zones and the travel.
Yeah, I'm impressed you guys pull it out. Very different for us. Yeah. But there's also like, there are sometimes you're like, this can't wait. We have to talk about this right now.
I think as our kids like have a little more independence, like we still got to help the third grader with the homework and, like karate uniform. And,
I don't know. I don't know if you're this way too, though, but Mel takes a while to process why she's feeling the way she's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are upset, and I hate when you're upset with me, I'm like, I just want us to be happy together all the time. Big smile,
Let's
happy
energy.
Fix it now. Fix it now.
Yeah. And I hate that. And I'll be like, what are you upset about? And sometimes you will, in your more balanced moments, and when I'm balancing and understanding you as well, I'll be like, you don't know yet. Or you'll say, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
And in about an hour or sometimes a day, you'll know, hey, this was about this email my dad sent me, or this is about this is about the fact that your grandpa is dying, or the kids are struggling, or the therapy session we had with Claire, whatever it may be. There's a million things it could be, but it does take you a while to find that.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's
just a theory.
Well, why does she think it?
I know. Yeah, no, I want you to go first.
This is a real therapy moment. I think
love
it's
therapy.
Yeah. I think it's just because we didn't talk about our feelings in my family growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Bullseye.
And being understood is like my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll over-explain, I'll overshare because I'm like, you guys are going to get it. And you're finally going to get me.
Yeah.
And then it never works. And it always comes back to bite me. So, yeah. So I'm very sensitive in that because I want to be understood, and you just literally can't. No one can fully understand you. I can't even understand myself.
Well, it's a little.
Right.
We talk about that a lot of time, as when you want certain things from people it's not a tangible thing. As a comic, you always talk about you want to be respected by your peers. Mm-hmm. Well, what does that mean?
What does it mean?
What does that even mean? Does that mean your favorite comic has to go on a big podcast and say you're the best comic? Will that do it? Because it probably won't.
No, yeah.
And I think the same thing with understanding or valued or any of those intangible things.
Mm-hmm.
There's no really such thing. You know what it is you have moments where you feel understood and those feel great, but you can never fully feel understood all the time.
All fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The value or the understanding.
Yeah. No one ever understands another person fully. It's just not possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think growing up that way, I didn't grow up with people expressing their feelings verbally either.
Yeah.
They would express them in other ways, passive aggression, manipulation.
Yeah.
What about just push it down, never acknowledge it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And avoidance. Yeah.
Yeah. Avoidance, denial.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not physically with a person, but throwing something, or kicking a can, trash can or something. So, Bert is so verbal, and he's so verbal, as all stand-ups are.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a fully verbal art form.
Mm-hmm.
That to be married to someone who's not fully verbal that way, I communicate wonderfully verbally, but I don't. It's not automatically accessed like Bert's. Bert can tell you everything he's feeling in any given moment, and I can, unless I'm emotional. And if I'm emotional, then it's like I'm hearing clattering in my head, and I have to sit with it for a minute to be able to figure it out. Bert figuring out that everyone is not wired like him has been helpful, but he's still extremely impatient when I'm in those places because he wants to fix it. He doesn't want to sit in the upset. And I don't want to sit in the upset either. Yeah. But I also don't want to tell you half the story. And I don't want to, because then I'm unfulfilled and the upset doesn't really go away. So for me, anyway, that's not my instant access. I know what I'm feeling. I'm really angry.
Right.
Why am I angry? And sometimes in my experience, I don't know how you are, sometimes the why I'm angry is an accumulative problem. It's because something's happened that I didn't get to talk about before because you're in or out, couldn't get you on the phone. You weren't in a space where you could hear.
Right.
I don't know how you are, but with Bert, sometimes I have to decide, do I want to express my feelings or do I want to affect change? What's the choice? So if I want to affect change, I may not really be able to express my feelings because that will just make him upset, reactionary, adverse to what I'm saying. So I
Right.
have to really navigate. And that may not be totally healthy because I grew up with a mom that has a personality disorder. So you have to read that person and go, can I ask for dinner now? Or should I wait and ask for dinner later? So if I want dinner, here's how I have to ask for dinner. And I should make sure everything's cool before I ask it.
Right.
So
You understand that.
I still have some of that pattern where it's the
It's a
risk
safety
is
thing.
not worth the conversation.
Interesting.
And so then sometimes, and that makes me angry. So then when I get upset about something or it makes me sad or it makes me whatever, fill in the
Right.
blank. So then when I have all this feeling, I kind of have to suss out what's now and what's not now.
Yeah.
And then deal with what's not now. And he doesn't understand that either.
No, I
Because
think
as soon as
Bert's-
he feels it, it comes out.
And I think Bert is a little bit like me in that a lot of time, I'm just upset that you're upset. That's the main issue.
No, that's not Bert.
Okay, no. Okay, well that's
I
me.
think Bert's
He's
Yeah.
upset that he's upset.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
upset that I'm upset.
Oh,
he's
no.
upset that he's upset.
No, I guess what I mean,
Okay.
I
don't have a filter.
Yeah,
I don't have a filter either.
Yeah,
So I have to stop
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
And
I
say,
don't mean
"Don't say
that in
that."
some self-righteous way that like I'm just such a good
No,
husband.
I
that
know.
I mean that if like you're upset, I'm like, why are we upset right now? Everything should be great.
Yeah.
Let's go have fun together.
Well, no,
like,
he doesn't want me to be upset if I'm upset with someone else.
Oh,
But if
I
I'm
see.
upset with him, he's
Yeah.
definitely the victim.
Oh.
100%.
Yeah.
We have a nickname for him. It
Yeah.
is Victim Victoria.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
as soon as he's done something wrong, Victoria comes out.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
You got to meet me halfway here. You're not perfect. But he
I'm
was a really
guilty
hard
of
time.
that. I'm guilty
Yeah.
of that.
I think what happens though is it upsets him so much that he's upset me that now he's a victim
Yeah.
because he's so upset that he's done something that upset me that how dare you tell me I've upset you because now I'm upset with myself and now I'm blaming you for being upset
Now I
with
feel
myself.
bad about myself.
Exactly.
And,
So why would you do that to me?
Yeah, that's all relatable. I got that problem too.
Yeah. We all do,
Yeah,
right?
Or I'll start saying like I'll get like passive aggressive too, but not even like we did in that car like today as we were like looking for a Starbucks and you're like, oh, I think it's this one. I was like, well, you're right again. Like, and we'll just start doing throwaway lines.
I was trying to like monitor my caffeine. You know, I was like, I'll get one when I get up there.
You were regulating.
Yeah. And I was like, because I need it, like, but I can't have it too early. And that's what I was just telling him. I'm like, I don't have this performative energy that you have, and I can't just access it. You know, like when I'm done,
need a
I'm
little
done.
something. Yeah,
you know?
you need a little something to get up to perform, but it's the performance that gets me up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, hey, it's a mic.
That's your caffeine.
Let's go.
That's your caffeine.
Exactly. It's dopamine. Hit me, baby. Let's go.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm buzzing.
And we're just different. We're
just different.
So different.
So different.
That's how dare you be different?
What's
So-
the hardest thing about being married to a comic, not just
Mhm.
Dustin, but a comic?
I want to hear your answer too.
That is such a good question. I have so many thoughts.
Does it have to be just one?
Where do I begin?
Can it be multiple? Yes, you can say whatever you want.
Ooh, man. I think.
Are you filtering yourself?
Yeah, I know, right?
Don't filter yourself. No, I want to hear
it's
the
not-
answers. Yeah.
Because I don't mean about
Yeah.
Dustin.
No,
I mean
no,
about
yeah.
a comic. Because what
Yeah.
comes with a comic?
Mhm.
They're traveling all the time.
But the initial is the travel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's just like, you know, in and out, in and out, in and out.
The jokes about you, the oversharing.
No, I don't. I like jokes,
Mhm.
like well-written jokes. They're
Mhm.
good performance. Like I love it as art. And so I'm not, I mean, I'll tell you if I don't like a joke, but
Yeah, you're allowed to shut down jokes.
yeah. And I think I've gotten pickier about comedy as an art form, which I just tell them like I'm spoiled, right?
Yeah.
I see such good comedy in Dustin and Taylor that I'm like, oh, I can't watch everything now like I used to be able to. Because
Right.
I'm like, you guys have refined my taste. But I think it's probably just like kind of that sliding scale. Like I know a regular job is hard and you have a boss to please. And you have a salary and, you know, you have to, but it feels like the comedian has just a never ending, like, performative, like the views on this and the deal on this, and did you get invited to this, and are you going to get this? And so it feels like it's wonderful and it's so much fun and I love it, but it does feel like there's always something to like achieve or worry about.
Right.
And that's just like art. Art is constant rejection, you know, like, and you get some yeses and you get some nos and you persevere, you know?
Yeah.
But in sharing so much of yourself, and then someone on YouTube's like, you know, like, I hate you, you know? Like,
the open-endedness of it. Yeah.
There's so much
chase.
Yeah.
Yes,
like,
a lot of chase.
And there's so many no's. And I thought, you know, like, you think all famous people know each other. Duh. Right? Like, they're all friends.
Right.
In
we all live
Hollywood.
on the same street, actually.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that. And then it's like, oh, but once you get, you know, like a TV deal, like everybody loves you and they never say no to you. And you're like, oh, it's actually like 100,000% the opposite. Like so many no's and so much rejection. And so I think at this state, like, I'm learning to deal with that and navigate.
And that's your least favorite part?
That's my least favorite part.
Well, the
right
open-endedness of the chase is the right word for it. And like
and that's the beauty of it too.
Yeah, the chase never stops. So you have to enjoy the chase.
Yeah. That's good.
So
really
I'm learning to navigate that.
Enjoying the chase.
That feeling.
Yeah. What's the best part? Of a comic, not of Dustin.
Being married to a comic. That's the best part of being married to a comic. The custom jokes that he writes for me.
The custom jokes.
Oh, just being funny around the house, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just all the ways that he makes me laugh.
Aw.
That doesn't go on stage or it's just for me.
That's amazing.
Still the best laugh
that.
to get is like the wife and the kids. It's still the laugh that feels the best.
Right. I would
Because you're
imagine,
like, you're the least impressed by me.
Yeah.
I don't.
So that laugh is really meaningful.
It really means a lot when
Yeah.
you can get the family to laugh at you because arguably I get the least amount of laughs around the house.
Yeah, same. We jokingly say I'm the funny one at home.
Yeah.
And Bert's like gets so offended when we say that, but I'm pretty witty.
Yeah.
I'm pretty witty. I don't want to go on stage.
Funny in the home is very different. My dad was a much funnier dad than I am. But he could never get on stage. It's a different thing. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm funnier than Bert, but I definitely have a sense of humor.
Right.
And have a lot of fun. In my everyday life, I have a lot of fun. And I have fun with my kids. We have fun together. But I think he says the same thing.
Yeah.
Like that laugh at home is just
the best. Yeah.
Yeah. The best.
It is funny because I would say the chase is my favorite part of it.
Sure.
But it is the most discouraging part too, because there are, like, I had a special come out on March 28th. And you're like, okay, here it is. They've got the special coming out, and we've got the thing, and we're going to line up all this stuff, and then stuff changes or a reschedule happens. You're like, and you're waiting to get a call, and there's the yes, and there's the no, and like the Tonight Show says no, but Corden says yes, and it's all that, and that's fun and that's exciting. And the lows, you're like, but it doesn't. And then, but the chase is both I wouldn't say it's the best part, but it is both the best and the worst part because it's also the most panicky thing for me, which is like, my first goal in this was to be a pro. That was my very first goal. If I can accomplish that, and then my second goal is go into any city, play their best club, and have 80% of the people there to see me, like to sell tickets, essentially. And then you go, am I going to get that second one? Because there's so many great comics that don't sell tickets. There's so many that work hard or try, and you're like, am I going to be one of those guys? Am I, so the chase is both the most, it's the most exciting part, and it's the part that keeps cost me the most sleep.
Right. It's thrilling.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's very thrilling.
It's thrilling. And thrilling comes with terror.
Yeah.
And joy and laughter and tears. And something really thrilling.
Right.
The chase is really thrilling.
And you, as the partners, the spouse, you remember the grind on the come up. Like people will see, Bert at FSU with the Seminole thing and everyone going nuts. And you're like, yeah, I remember some bad weekends. I remember some tough, funny bone one-nighters or off weekends where you didn't even make any money. You were there. So that is so satisfying to share that. I remember the first time that I sold out a club. It wasn't even the weekend. It was just the one nighter at Zany's in Nashville. It was the first sellout I ever had, and I was so sad you weren't there.
Aww.
Because you're like, this is us. You're the only one who really fully appreciates this. I mean, comics, we get it. We understand the grind, but you're the only one who's been in it.
That's your teammate.
That's my teammate. That's the best way of putting it. Yeah.
So I always say this. I don't know how comics do it without a teammate. There's so much you get banged up by. Not just on the road, but in the industry. It's so hard financially. If you don't have someone at home running things,
right,
you know?
Right.
I don't know how comics do it without a Mel or a Leanne. It's hard. I don't know. Bert definitely, I don't think could have come this far.
Right.
No. If you didn't have somebody like me.
People say the opposite. They go, I don't know how you do this with a family. And I'm like, I don't know how you do it without one.
I don't know either, because you'd lose your mind. You'd be sad. I'd imagine you'd be sad to have nothing to come back to.
Yeah.
You know, an empty apartment or a roommate.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think makes a person successfully be married to a comic? What do you think it is about that person? Is there a value? Is there a work ethic? What do you think it is?
Well, I can tell from you and from me, like, we still like value fun and art. And I think a lot of people kind of lose that, you know, like there is a romanticism and a drama that I enjoy.
That's great.
to the coming and going and the so it's kind of, you know, that bad relationship where you're like a push and pull. You know, like that's unhealthy, but like a little bit of that.
It's fun.
Like, it's kind of fun. So I think like I started with a graphic design degree and like I loved art always, you know, like I love being backstage, like just all that stuff. Like I volunteer in classrooms and teach art classes to kids. And so it's just, I love the performing arts and I love the arts. And so there just wasn't a question. You know, a lot of people were like, where's Dustin? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
You know, like, and I did have to like save face a lot, you know, and like, I was like, no, he can't coach Little League, but like I'll be team mom, you know, and when he's home, he'll be at the games, you know, he'll play catch with our son, you know, like, and he did. Absolutely. But some people are uncomfortable with that
non-conventional.
dynamic.
It's a non-conventional lifestyle.
It's non-conventional.
I've had to explain it many times too, where I go, you know what? Monday, Tuesday, half a day Wednesday, he's dropping off in the morning. He's making the lunchbox. He's picking him up after school. He cooks dinner because I hate to cook.
Right.
That was one thing he loves to cook.
Yeah.
He's not helping anybody with homework, Mr. Captain Dyslexia, but he's picking up from softball practice. He's driving him here. He's taking him to the mall.
Right.
He's plugged in. When we got pregnant, I said, the deal for me is when you show up, you're plugged in. If you will do that, I can plug into you being gone. But if you show up and you're still working sun up, sun down, and you're not plugged into these two kids, I can't do that. I can't get behind that. That was a deal breaker for me. And it wasn't even really a question. It's just who he is to show up and plug in.
Right.
And in the very beginning, when I was managing apartment buildings, like you were saying earlier, we could not afford a nanny except for the like Thursday, Friday, he was gone. So when he was home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he was daddy. And the kids this was before Isla was in preschool and Georgia was in preschool and he did everything. I was in diapers and they, you know, he'd put him, walk in the stroller and take him a block up to Trader Joe's and shop and, you know, he'd buy a big loaf of French bread, break it in half and hand it to each of them and go,
like keep him busy for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
He'd gut the loaf of bread and eat the whole loaf of bread and I'd be like, oh my God, they're going to be constipated for like 4 days now. They're eating an entire loaf of French bread.
Well, great. Then you have to change diapers.
I know, right? But he did it. He really rolled his sleeves up because we couldn't have afforded his dream if we didn't do that. So I think that set us on the right path so that every time he came home, no matter what, he did that essentially for the appropriate age.
And he was super connected to the girls.
He was, and he still is. In the
Mm-hmm.
last year or so, he hasn't been able to do that as much, and I don't like it. I'm not enjoying it. I'm upset about it, and I keep being very vocal about it. So I keep trying.
I'm not going to speak into this.
What's that?
I said I'm not going to speak into this.
Right?
I think he's probably dealing with what we're all dealing with is our kids are getting older, and it feels like we don't need them as much. Like,
but they
like
do.
on paper,
but you do. It's not true.
Because Dustin does this too. He goes, "Okay, in 8 years, you can come to all my shows."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, when Claire is 18.
Yeah.
And I go, Dustin, like the teens and the 20s are so like turbulent.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need like that safe home base,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know? And
Plus, they're not exactly going into a great work economy.
They're gonna,
I don't know when they're going to be.
He has a joke about they're gonna live with us forever.
Right.
By the
Yeah.
time Claire's in college, Joel will be back.
Yeah.
Home. You know what I mean? It'll be like a
yeah.
revolving door.
Yeah, and you're looking at some of these grades. I'm like, I don't know if it's college for, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, you know, whatever
All right.
works for them. But then like they can drive themselves
Yeah.
to school or work, but they still need
Yes, they do.
parents
100%.
around.
100%. And
It's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Well, to your point too, some of, I think the checks, the big money items, they just get higher.
They
'Cause
do.
now-
yeah.
Now they get a DUI.
Yeah.
Now they get a divorce.
Yeah.
Now they get fired from their job or they get evicted or they like just the stuff that happens in your 20s, you know, like
Yeah,
you get
you crash a car,
huge life stuff that you go, oh, or they have a kid, you know,
Right.
like planned or unplanned,
Right.
you know, they're like, you are right that I think what I felt is there is like, as they've gotten older, it gets less physically taxing, but more emotionally taxing.
Yeah.
We're less tired. We get more sleep. We don't get a lot of sleep. We get more sleep than we did certainly when they were toddlers, and especially you, like and infants and up feeding in the middle of the night and all that kind of stuff. But the emotional taxing of like Joel has to have 50 hours of driving before he can. You're like 50 hours.
know, right?
I know,
How do
we're
you
like
do
at
that?
22.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
like, oh.
Right?
Might have to take a road trip.
That's 5 trips to and from San Francisco. Let's go.
Yeah,
One
go.
a month for 5 months.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Wife of the Party is brought to you by Lumi. Booty BO. Sounds funny. Having it, not so much. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Lumi. It's the world's best whole body deodorant. It's clinically proven to control odor everywhere, your privates, your pits, and beyond for 72 hours. That's forever. Let me tell you something. I took Lumi wipes and deodorant on my last Girl Scout trip and shared it with everybody because 13 teenage girls has a lot of booty BO and a lot of body BO and a lot of just BO. And everybody loved it. Thank God they used it. It was a 2-day trip, so the 72 hours was plenty to take care of their booty BO. Lumi was developed by an OBGYN, Dr. Shannon Klingman, who met with thousands of women concerned about odor below the belt. Through clinical testing, she discovered it wasn't the vagina to blame, but bacteria on the skin. So she created Lumi, a pH-optimized, aluminum-free deodorant that actually works and works everywhere, with over 150,000 5-star reviews to prove it. Special offer for new customers, get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code WIFE30 at LumiDeodorant.com. Lumi starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code WIFE30 at LumiDeodorant.com. That's spelled Lume deodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumiDeodorant.com and use the code WIFE30. But another piece of that, when they're older, there's still so much kind of strategy, I think, to parenting. There's so much big brain thinking that happens when they get to be teenagers and they start getting into criminal behavior, which is normal. high school criminal behavior. I don't mean like anybody's off the rails even.
Right.
But the strategy of
arson.
They're They're lying, and lying is part of being a teenager because of the want for autonomy.
Yeah.
So if you bust them on every lie, they hate you.
I need Tell me more about lying strategies. We got a liar. I'm not going to name names. We got a liar.
Okay, I read a book about raising teenage daughters that was really helpful about that.
That did narrow it down for us on which child of it is ours.
No, I don't know if it's your daughter or not. Right. But the book I read, I only have daughters. Yeah. So I read a book about raising teenage daughters. And what this psychologist said in this book is that lying is their need for autonomy, that they have this moment in time where they do not want you involved in their life in any capacity at all. And they know they can't do it without you. So it's like the theory of, I've said this so many times on my podcast, but the theory of like, I hate you. Now will you drive me and Emily to the mall? Right. I can't even get to the mall without you, but I want you out of my business entirely. So it's the struggle within them of, I don't want to need you, and I know that I absolutely do. So I'm going to find, it leads to lying. Yes, it directly leads to lying because they're trying to find these places that are just theirs. So they'll tell you something knowing that you don't know what's really happening. So it gives them ownership. And she said one of the ways she found that they kind of helped alleviate that somewhat. You can't really make it go away, especially for teenage daughters, but to help alleviate it was to give them places where they had absolute autonomy. Like her example in the book is, you can have your room as messy as you like. Here's the rule. No food in your room. And if we have company, if I request for you to clean it up for some special occasion, not because it's Friday, but like grandma's coming over, you got to clean your room. You have to do that. That's the deal. You get total autonomy as soon as you cross the threshold of your bedroom door, it's yours. But when I ask it, I still pay the bills. Grandma's come and clean it up. Fine. And that usually helps them have that space where they're totally autonomous. If it's not that, it's their closet, it's their car, it's their whatever. Fill in the blank, whatever works for your family. But we did that at our house. And I think for Georgia,
was it the room thing? Is that what you did?
It was the room. We're like, the room is yours. And it sucks my soul to go in Isla Kreischer's room. I go in there and I'm like, a serial killer. You're like, is there a different
solution?
No, I mean, I literally think she's a serial killer and there's probably snakes loose in that room. And you snake
get the guns.
Good luck. You know, I literally go in there and I'm like losing my mind over her room. But this is the deal we made. And that girl, so far as I can tell, is not a big liar. I haven't really caught her any small lies. And with the older one, I caught her in lies constantly. So I'm pretty good at catching liars.
Same.
But Georgia, for some reason, didn't take as much ownership of that autonomy as Isla did. Isla was like, you said, this is mine. And this is going to be mine. And she does it. Whereas Georgia, I think, still had a little bit of mom in the background going, I should probably clean this up.
Interesting.
And then so she lied more. It's very fascinating.
Because when you have a kid that lies a lot, you're just like, this kind of compromises everything. Like when we don't have like trust, we don't have anything, you know? So it's like, do you have homework? No. I mean, is that true? You know, because it's hard
it's just like a Band-Aid. You know, like problem solved. I said no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have that too. Well, what she did say about that is you have to kind of set for the parents, what is a deal breaker lie? Like Georgia told me she was going to so-and-so's house and she went to someone else's house. Deal breaker. If there's an earthquake, I don't know where you are. I can't have that kind of lie. But lying about like, did you eat lunch? And she would say yes. And then later she would say, I didn't even eat lunch. And I go, well, why did you tell me you did? I don't understand. To just let it go. Not that you don't call her on it. Not that you don't go, hey, I know that was a lie.
You don't flip out
There's
over
no
it.
consequence. There's no like, it's going to so-and-so's house instead of the other.
That's
now
a big
there's
deal.
a problem. And here's why I have a problem.
Safety.
And here is the consequence. You know, to kind of not that you need to anticipate every single thing they're going to lie about. It's impossible. But if you have some kind of like baseline of like safety,
that's good.
There's a safety issue involved.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable.
That's what we have been trying to tell her more and more about, like lying is like a dangerous life.
Yeah.
The dishonest person, like you can get a lot of trouble for that.
And
like,
you lose who you are because you lose the truth. I've
Yeah.
had these same conversations so many times with Georgia.
Yeah.
And all you can do, my mother-in-law is like a brain growth and development for toddler specialist.
Wow.
And she told me once, she was like, for toddlers, their brains are changing so rapidly. That same development repeats itself in the
teenage years. Yeah, you told me that recently.
So she said the problems you have with a toddler are going to repeat themselves in the teen years. So if you have a little lie, cheat, steal kid, that's what's going to show up. If you have someone who's overly emotional and super reactive, that's when it's going to show up.
Yeah.
She was like,
that's good.
Same thing you did in the toddlers will apply. Yeah. You just keep saying it over and over.
That's what I tell him a lot.
Over and over and
the
over.
Boundary is that your mind doesn't change. You know, like, no, I still said no. You know, like.
That's good. Yeah. Joel, our oldest, he's like, we had this, he's not done with puberty. He's still growing, but I do feel like
growing,
some of the more intense sides of it are kind of done and he's kind of chilled out.
He's leveling out.
But he was a little bit of like an arguer, not even that passionately, but just like these like petty little arguments. He'd push back on everything.
Yeah.
And I asked him one time, it was so funny. I was like, why are you doing this? Why do you keep saying that? And he goes like, I don't know. And I was like, that's the honest answer.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Because your brain is on fire.
Yeah.
Because you're transforming from a child to a man.
Yeah.
And your brain is insane now.
It is on fire. You're right.
Yeah. I don't know I'll fully give you that answer.
Totally.
Yeah. Because you don't know and nobody knows.
Yeah. And you don't need to know.
No, I don't need to know.
We just need to know we're having a hiccup.
I need to know where you are. I need to know, are you hungry?
Yeah.
I need to know what time you need to be where. There's just baseline things.
Do you have homework and have you done it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Parenting's interesting, isn't it? Teenagers are.
It's tough.
Something
it's
else,
really,
man.
And now too, when they're like Joel, I'm like, you're my size. We're not even like,
I know.
You just have this man here, you know?
It's so different that we were young parents, but like they don't get together that much. Like,
what
kids,
do you mean?
Like they text.
Oh, you mean with
they
their peers?
FaceTime,
with their peers,
They play video games together.
And that's all we did.
Yeah,
all the time. I could not leave my house soon enough.
Yeah, me too.
I would get home from school, throw my backpack down, and leave until my dad yelled at the door, Dustin! When I heard that, then I would come home.
Yeah, same.
I didn't hate my house, but I just didn't want to be there, right?
You wanted to be with your friends.
Yeah, but now they're like, my friend, can we get on Fortnite? My friend's there. And you're like, so lame.
Right? Our neighbors had this
get into trouble
party, and I stopped by, and they're really sweet. They have older kids, like 20s, 30s. And they were like, where's Claire? Because she's always in the yard, and they talk over the fence to her. And I'm like, you are going to laugh at me. But she's having a virtual play date right now.
Oh my God. That's so crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, she's 9. And I was like, and he moved, and it's like a thing, and I couldn't get her to come. Like, and they're like, yeah, we are laughing at you.
That's crazy. A virtual play date.
Yeah. Which essentially just means get on it. Just like get on Fortnite at 10 or
Zoom
whatever.
And a Fortnite or FaceTime or something.
Yeah. My daughter FaceTimes. They'll make a chat room in the FaceTime where there's like 6 of them, and they'll do homework together.
Yeah.
And the iPad is sitting next to her on the bed, and they'll be totally quiet. Like it's not like they were just chatting or distracting each other. They're just
that feels
connected.
Together for them.
It feels connected.
Yeah. My daughter will FaceTime, and then I'll come in to grab. Hi, Mom. Oh, okay. Like you're just walking around your house, and you're on camera.
Yeah.
And then they're silent because they're like
it's morning, so I'm still in my underwear. Like, oh gosh.
They're like, we're just putting on makeup and being on video.
Yeah.
This
is what Dad looks. Yeah, it's that's very
that's
much
fun for you.
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Our parents had the same thing with our generation, though. They would just be.
Why are you on the phone? Hang up the phone.
Yeah, the phone would be so hot, but you're like, I can't.
Hot phone.
I can't
feel it from my dead cold hand.
And then I remember Oh, and before we had a portable phone, we had one of the long cords.
Yes.
And then I would like walk around the whole house and they click over. No, I don't care if grandma's calling. I got to talk to Camille.
Well, I don't know if this happened for you, but in middle school, I got my own line, my own phone
That's
line.
a huge deal. I remember when my sister got it. Yeah.
It was a huge
in your
deal.
room.
In my room.
Wow.
So I could have private conversations with my friends in my room.
I mean,
well, my parents would answer the phone.
Yeah.
So they got to do like that judgmental, like, who is this?
Oh, I remember going through this with your dad. And
my dad was he had like a big bark as far as like boys calling and stuff. Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's really funny.
And then,
but can you
later,
imagine before your kid could FaceTime, they had to go through you?
Yeah. It would never happen in this generation. They just would all be isolated. They'd be siloed off and everyone each home.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, the bridge between those, though, because I remember sitting in my living room and my dad would be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, I'm chatting with my friends, like AOL Instant Messenger. We had AOL Instant Messenger. And we would chat it on AOL Instant Messenger. That was kind of the bridge between you're like, no, I am here, but I'm talking to I got a few windows up. I'm chatting with a few friends right now.
We would hang out and then have our curfews, go home, and then get on our family computer.
In the living room.
The one computer.
And chat until the wee hours.
How about that? Mm-hmm. I'm too old for that. I'm a Gen Xer.
Yeah, that's all right.
We're right there.
It's all right. Thanks, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm just kidding. Best generation ever. I'm just saying.
Just
out
ask
of
them.
the loop. Their world has changed so much.
Yeah, it has.
Gen X has watched the world change.
We have seen a lot of change for sure.
Yeah.
Because I had a rotary dial phone.
Yeah.
You just think about that. Kids these days. Have you seen those Instagram posts of
them trying to figure it out?
Not knowing what that is.
Hilarious.
Have you seen this?
No.
It cracks me up of these like teenagers going like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
And then someone saying you need to call your friend.
Yeah.
Here's the phone number. How do you do that? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
What is this?
My daughter's preschool had one.
Yeah.
For fun.
Just a toy.
And then
look at this archaic idea. Might as well be an old dinosaur bone to them. There was a funny TikTok going around there was like a girl was like, it seems like in your house you should have like one cell phone that just doesn't leave the home. Like that would be great. And then someone is like, that's a home phone. That's the main. That's a home phone. We all had one of those.
We all had one. Isn't that funny?
But yeah, you guys had watched. I mean, even talking to my dad about that, he was like, my dad went from radio to the 3-channel TV, where they played the national anthem when it was all over or whatever.
That's what I had.
Everybody had to do the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever and go to bed.
Yep.
And now you're like, hey, every good and terrible thing in the world is right here, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking about that. About like when you release a special on YouTube, like which is mine's out on. It's like you're competing. Like Netflix, you sit down and you watch Netflix, and you're still competing with everything on Netflix.
You might be on your phone.
Yeah,
but Netflix
is on here. But in YouTube,
it's dedicated.
You're like everything in the whole world is right here. You can watch Michael Jordan highlights right here. You can watch a comedian that you like. You can watch a beheading. You can watch it's all right here. And you're just trying to compete with them. You're like, all right, hopefully I'm going to hook them quickly.
It's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I tell this to my kids all the time. I think one of the tragedies about all of this accessibility is I had 3 channels. I'm before cable TV. Like I saw the first launch of MTV. That's my generation. But in grade school, before CNN News and TBS came on, because I really think they were cable, everybody was talking about the same thing. Everyone watched the Dukes of Hazzard on Friday night, and Monday morning we broke it down. Everybody saw Different Strokes. Everybody watched All in the Family. That's everybody watched the same thing. So there was a collective with everything. Any movie that was out, you went to the movie theater and sat with people and had a collective experience. Every concert you went to, no one's filming it on their phone. You're there having having a collective experience.
Yeah.
And I feel that they're robbed of that because it is so amazing to be at live music in a concert and everybody feeling all these emotions at the same time.
Right.
And dancing and singing.
Yeah.
And the kids these days are just too cool to do that. They're just holding their phone.
Yeah.
And there's so much freedom in that collective.
Right.
You know, and even our school dances when we're watching Footloose.
No more slow dances.
No. They're not interested.
No.
My kids, they go with their
they
friends.
Don't slow dance
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
Kids these days, man.
Our son was like on shoulders, his friend's shoulders, like in a cowboy hat. Like
he's like, Dad, I got on a bunch of people's Instagram stories.
Instagram
It's for a
stories.
post.
Yeah, it's for posts.
like,
Yes.
But
And
that's
they
how
don't
they
even-
feel what we felt, though.
Yes.
That shared, that connection, it is a
I
very
actually
virtual
like it when you
online.
say
Yes,
that.
but-
I like it when you say that because I'm always like, this is terrible. Society's crumbling.
No, that's how they feel it.
You
They
know,
feel the
It
connection.
is, but at the same time, I think because it's so public, kids are less apt to make fools of themselves unless they're that kid that just is going to make a fool of themselves anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
You know,
You're
there's
right.
the kids that made a fool of themselves and, you know, a week from Monday, everybody's forgotten it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it lives forever. And so I know
Yeah.
I
Scary.
watched, our
It is
kids are
scary,
in an all-girl school
Mhm.
and I see these girls they're just not taking chances with figuring out who they are. Because it's
And
too
that's what you're
unsafe.
supposed to do in high school.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're not taking any
Totally.
risks, then like you're gonna like flail
Right,
and
right.
drown
But
in
But now that it's an
college
online
because-
world, whatever thing goes
agree.
wrong, it might happen in person, might continue too. Like your bully is in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like there is a sense that like, so I've got Gloria this like kind of like big wool sweater vest thing.
They're
that
into vintage clothes.
Yeah,
that I
that's
thought was
cute.
like,
Fun.
I think someone in our house might wear this, and she really liked it.
It's like a
And
V-neck.
she
and-
made it half a period because some kid said she looked like Charlie Brown, and then she
Oh.
took it off. And I was like, I'm glad
She's a
you took.
seventh grader.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
took the risk though, and you
Yeah.
experienced it in person. But I also understand that because like you were at, like high school, middle school. There was like a news cycle that was about 24, 48 hours, and then it was over.
Mhm.
And then the new thing happened,
Yeah.
but not online.
Yeah.
Someone might post about it.
Yeah.
And they might DM about it. And you're just constantly
Screenshot,
worrying
yeah.
what people are saying.
Group
Saying, oh, did you see
text,
Charlie
yes.
Brown at school today? You're
Yeah.
like, it
and
is.
what if it goes viral? Now the
Right.
whole world
And
sees
it might
and
go
it's-
viral.
Yeah.
You might, that's because that doesn't, like, I see that stuff online all the day of some kid getting.
YouTubers.
And you're like, that's a
and-
kid.
yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
doing? You
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you guys driving back today?
Maybe
Maybe.
we are, but we'll probably hang out for a while.
Yeah.
Because at this
Yeah.
point, there's no reason to drive
Well,
right
yeah, the
now.
traffic would take you forever.
Yeah.
What will
So
you do?
Yeah.
maybe get some food.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know.
If
The
you-
world is ours.
That's right.
We have no set plan.
If you have a recommendation, let us know.
Oh yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See what you want to do.
Yeah. Since
Um,
we're coming up in a couple days again.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the weekend, we're like, no, we'll just drive up and back. And my son's got a track meet tomorrow.
Nice.
we thought about
Yeah.
staying,
Mhm.
but yeah, there was like, you're like, we'll go up
I
and
gotta
down.
do a snack bar shift.
Do you at the track
meet?
That's
At
hysterical.
the track meet, you're at snack bar tomorrow at the track meet?
5 to 6.
Oh.
So then I'll see his race and I'll do snack bar.
Oh,
and then,
man.
And
I'm gonna
we've
go
got drama for
I'm
our
gonna
little
go,
one.
I'm going to go flirt with the snack bar girl.
Yeah.
See if I
can
might be
get
able
some
to get some
nachos.
free
Pick
liquor
up
in.
some sweets, baby. Pick up
Yeah,
some
you know what I mean?
sweets.
Hey, put the thing down.
Yeah, right.
We've been going to bed early like that. We need some privacy in the snack
We're gonna
bar.
make the news.
Oh, fingers
Funny.
crossed.
Well, I have to say, it's lovely to meet you guys, and
You
it's
as well.
lovely
You
to
too.
talk to people who live my same life experience
Mm.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's rare that you meet someone who's so similar in
Yeah.
I
in
know.
not in the structure of your life, I guess, or the
Yeah.
function of your life. It's really cool.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, thank
Very
you. For coming
validating and
up.
helpful, and hearing from you and Bert and comics down the line, like from us, like you're just like, oh, this is just, it's like getting to talk to your future self in some way. You're like, what do you,
So helpful.
what have you heard?
Yeah.
Tell me, what's it
Yeah.
going to be like?
Mhm.
You know, we
What's it
had,
gonna be like?
this will be a 30-second story because, but like I had a comic tell me years ago, I was literally on his tour bus and him and his wife were like going through some stuff. And he told me, he goes, your instinct is going to be to not involve Melissa the more successful you get. Just provide a happy life and a good life for her. And he goes, reject that instinct. Be as involved, have her be as involved with what you do as possible. And that was the same thing as I'm talking about here. You're like, just give us something. Just tell us. Because we don't know. There's no manual on how to make a marriage work. There's plenty of examples of how to fail.
Yes.
So when you see I will say as a married couple and as a married guy in the comedy space, when there is a couple that has made it work, it's very inspiring and hopeful, and you just want to hear as much as you can from them,
Well, I think that guy's advice was right, because as successful as Bert has continued to become, I was starting to try and pull away and be like, oh, we are hiring these people. I can hand all of this over, like I handed over our money to our business manager. I can hand this over to this one or that one or this one or that one. And it is part of our relationship. It's not, our relationship has many facets. We have wonderful friends that we love spending time with. We're parents together. We have a blast as two people by ourselves. We love playing board games together and cooking and, we love all that shit. We love being at the water. We love traveling. But this life is the day to day, and we did build it together.
Yes.
And when I started pulling away from it, I think the life just kept pulling me back in because I've been part of it from the beginning.
Right.
So I had to kind of adjust the way I thought about it for myself, and that I'm really as integral as he is in a lot of ways.
Very much so.
To where we are.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
to not discredit that for myself, not that I was consciously discrediting, but that I was going no, it's time for me to have my life. And then all of a sudden went, wait, this is my life.
Right.
This actually is my life.
Yeah.
I am
It's
completely
ours.
fulfilled here.
Yeah.
So why would I leave it?
Yeah.
This is, I
It's
built
really
this
good.
too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay in here. You know? And I then got even more involved than I was before. And I find myself to be really proud of myself. I was proud of myself before, but I was proud of myself in being the wife of, instead of being proud of myself and being the partner of, which I'm still the wife of, but I wasn't allowing myself to really step up and stand side by side with Bert, so to speak, until very recently. And
that's great.
That to me goes,
really
okay, your friend is right. I think it's good that you just stay really connected, because also at this point, at least where Bert is, there's so much happening that I can't really effectively let it go, because I have all the history. I hold all the history.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm the only person who has this holistic view of everything for him, his health, his family, his personal life,
his past,
his
the grind,
past,
the future, the kids,
all the information,
Yeah.
all the skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
I've got all of it. And I don't know that I could give it to anybody else, because there's no way. They haven't been here. I mean, even Judy's been his manager for a long time.
Yeah.
But no one's been here as long as I have.
Yeah.
I've been here 21 years.
Yeah.
Judy's been here for 12 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's kind of like, the Elvis movie, the new one. And when he lost his mom, he didn't really have an advocate.
Right.
His wife, Priscilla. Yeah. She was, just from that movie and the way they wrote it. And, it was he didn't have an anchor anymore.
No, he didn't.
And then everybody, abused and mismanaged his life and his career. Yeah. And so that's kind of what you said about coming home. You need artists, comics, performers need that. Yeah.
They need somebody. It may not be a wife or a husband or a spouse. It might be a mom or a sister.
Their best interest.
Somebody.
Somebody that is truly not, I don't want to say unimpressed, but that's not why they're there.
Right.
They're not there.
Yeah.
They don't make money off of you.
Yeah.
They're not there for 10%.
Right.
They're not there because you're funny. They're not there because they're a fan. Nothing along those. They are there because they love and care for you and they understand you. And they allow you to give that to them in a way that you can't to a fan, to a manager, to a fellow comic. You can't be like, you can't feel that closeness that you can feel in a partner, you know?
And they believe in what you're doing.
Yes.
You
Yes,
have to
very much
believe
so.
in what
Yeah.
you do. I saw Bert the first time on stage. He was really nervous for me to see him. I saw him at the Hollywood Improv. And when he got off stage, he was like, "What do you think?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I think you're a lot smarter than what you're saying." And he went, "What?" I thought you were going to be like, "Holy shit, that was amazing." I said, "It was funny. It was really funny."
Yeah. I think,
Yeah.
But you're really
Wow.
selling yourself short.
Yeah.
You were so much smarter than that.
Wow.
So, and he was like, "Fuck, I think I found my girlfriend."
Yeah. It's really good. Yeah. She'll tell me I'm a hack. She'll be like, I think I'll write a new joke. She's like, I think I saw that on a meme. And you're like, oh. Gosh. You're like, didn't you already do that? Oh, no.
But in saying that to him, and then he start trying to grow and in fact growing, then just that act of trying to grow,
Yeah.
I can believe in.
Mm.
I can believe in that.
Yeah.
So if I can believe in that, then you can get where you're going
Right.
with me. I
Right.
can believe in that.
Right.
I can't believe in you continuing to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't believe in that.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big part of this partnership is that you believed in what you saw in him.
Yeah.
That you went, oh, I believe that. Oh, I
Yeah.
can get behind that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
know?
told me
Yeah.
that recently. I get like, this is like last week. You told me, because like sometimes I'll be like, why didn't you watch my set? Like I don't want you to watch all of them. I'm not an insane human. But like for the taping of my special, you didn't watch them. And I was like,
Yeah.
it seems like maybe that would have been one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And, but you told me I don't watch because I believe you're going to do fine. That's the thing I'm least worried about. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't watch Bert's set until right before, about a month before he's ready to shoot his special.
Yeah.
And then I give him notes.
And
And then he goes back and
yeah.
send him off. I do the same thing I did on the first date.
Yeah.
As I go, why you say fuck 4 times in one sentence?
Yeah.
Dude, say it one time.
One time, yeah.
And plug in 3 actual words
Yeah.
for the other 3 because now you're lazy. That's lazy.
Oh, spouse's notes on your actor. So funny.
I know. Well, that's exactly. I'm giving him that
So
note so
true.
many times.
Yeah. Do you ever
You
do
said
this
the
one?
word. He said
Oh
one
my gosh.
word, like a specific word, like I don't know, like appropriate or
Yeah.
something,
Uh-huh.
over and over in this one. I was
Yeah.
like, no one uses that word more than once in a conversation.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. You've
Stop
got
doing
ones
that.
where you'll go like, it's not my favorite. Like if I
Yeah.
run a joke by you, or you'll be like, I think
He's
it's,
like, is that funny?
and you'll be
I'm
like, it's more interesting than funny. You're
Yeah.
like, all right, that's a no.
Shit.
No. What am I, an alt act? No.
All right.
"Oh,
Well, I'm so happy to meet you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm
Oh,
so
thank
happy
you.
Likewise, yeah.
that you're
yeah.
making this life happy and happening.
Yeah,
it's
thank
amazing.
you. Like
Doing
I
our
said, you
best.
two are an inspiration, and
Mhm.
in you know, it's nice to see a married couple. It's nice there be Bert's great. It's nice to be a wife guy. There's so few wife guys. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in this where it's like Tom Papa, you're like wife guys. I want people that like seem like they're in love with their wife and they're great and it's working out for them. And then chatting with you, that's why it's nice. It's a nice little moment.
It is nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the drive up.
Thanks
I
very much.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we do it all the time.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. And come back sometime.
We'll
And we
do.
should all
Love
go to
to.
dinner sometime when Bert's here.
Love
Yeah,
to.
I'd love to.
You know, in
Yeah.
about 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But seriously, when he's home, we should go to dinner. That would be
Would
really
love
fun.
that so
Love
much.
that.
Yeah,
That'd be
we're
great.
in.